Welcome to the afternoon show. The markets have made a bit of a rebound from some lows. We hit yesterday's bottoms. We're trying to come back off of those lows after 2 days worth of selling. Post those Fed minutes. Should be an interesting final 2 hours of the day with just a couple of days left in the trading week. Lots moving here, so I want to jump right into review what's going on with the sector board here. And it's been quite a divergence. You can tell right away. I mean, Hewlett-Packard, that's been the big winner today. Berkshire Hathaway announcing that they had a large stake in HPQ, up 16% on a session. Just an absolute burner. And look, some of the retail names doing pretty well today. You have Target up 5%. Big move for them, looking very, very strong. But it's been healthcare overall as a sector that really leads the way. Whether it's Pfizer up 4.5%, whether you look at AbbVie up that 3%, Danaher up 4%, BMY up 2%. The entire board all green when it comes to the healthcare sector. It's been a different story if you look over in the financials where you've just got red across the board and not a good look. The banks have been down, financial not responding very well to that flattening yield curve, unfortunately. It's the same story when you go over to transportation. You got the airlines down across the board, American 4.5%, UAL 3.4%. You also have Spirit down 4.5%. It's just a weak time for them. In addition to that, you've shown weakness in some of the casino names, and as well, the cruise ships have been very, very weak. There's been some strength in consumer staples. We did have Constellation Brands up 4.5% on their earnings. Costco to fresh highs, been one of the strongest names out there, up 4%, which has just been an absolute banger. We're going to go over to, and hopefully load up, there you go, the NASDAQ, telling you a little bit of a different story. So you saw those pockets of strength, which are holding the market up. When you go to the NASDAQ, you see what's causing this divergence of weakness, right? Some of the names out of China, Pinduoduo, down 8%, again showing weakness. JD.com replaced their CEO, down 4%. Baidu, 3.5% to that downside. There are a few names on the NASDAQ that have been a little bit strong. You can see once again with healthcare, Regeneron, a good idea for one that's been strong today. In the semis, you've got AMAT up 1.5%, but it's not all strength there. AMD down 1%, Micron down 1%, NVIDIA and Marvell both down 2%. Now, we always talk about what are the opportunities that we have in the morning for trading and how can we go over those. And I mentioned HPQ was super strong. We've got one for the trade of the day here with Sean that was in the other direction.
Yo, what's up? Yeah, thanks, Neil. Look, we could have easily done HPQ as our long today. We were long 38, then we were long 40. That thing went to 41.50. But what I chose here to beat up on was Rite Aid today. And look, Deutsche Bank came, and this is what we talk about every day on the trade of the day. It's you got to look at the sticky note. You got to look at the watch list that we have, watchlist.tradertv.live. Rite Aid today with Deutsche Bank comes out, and they basically squash the business. It's quite simple what they said. It was just that a fading pharma segment, Rite Aid closing stores, not reopening them, and now you sort of have the pandemic behind us. So what does that mean now for Rite Aid? Like, can they continue even operations if they're not making money when, pharmacies were a pretty hot place to go to in the last 2 years? What's that going to mean moving forward? But again, we kind of pick on the weak here because look at Rite Aid. It was already on its way down. And I kind of felt like this morning that Deutsche Bank was kind of like picking their poison here because we already broke this $8 yesterday and we were hovering here around 9. And as you can see, I have the yesterday's up. So maybe I'll switch over to this side and give you guys a quick little look. Yesterday's close around that 850. Down comes the report. And then here in the pre-market, it was pretty simple for me. I saw the note and I was like, you know what? I want the short in Rite Aid. And I was like, if I'm going to be wrong, it's going to have to, I don't know what it's going to have to do. You don't get, a bank or an investment bank coming out and downgrading a stock and saying that they feel they're going to cease to exist. They actually slapped a $1 price target on this thing. So I'm just going to roll with them and feel like there might be a mass exodus out of position, even just due to the daily chart. Here it comes in. We sit down, man, 820, our first trade. Look at this range that it's in. I'm like, that doesn't seem, it was only down like 13%, 12%, something like that. So we take it first, we take it again, and then all of a sudden in the morning, when the market opens up, it actually pops up. And I'm holding this thing against me like, I don't know what it was. We were short at 685, let's call it that. And it popped to about 705. And I was like, this doesn't make much sense here. Let's go short again. And the worst case scenario would be, maybe we had that top wick there. And I felt like if we got up into the mid sevens, then maybe we would tap out and then reload the short if the trend started going our way. But fortunately for us, we almost have the top here. That's like a 705 that we wind up getting short. And then it happens. And there it goes down to the downside, including our last tick out there at 630. Again, we're short at 7, so we take about 10% on that one move alone here. Out, 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 out. The problem is, because it went up and kind of hovered around here and didn't really start moving till about 950, we tried to respect this bottom a little bit. Because remember, at this point, we have about 20, 30 cents in the money. So when it comes back down in, we just start taking them out. Then the collapse happens, and then we start getting some out at 50. I'll do that every time. 650 right here, you draw that line, we started to get some out. There was some bouncing action, so we weren't sure if we had this or not, and then it just collapsed all the way down. Obviously, to build out right there would have been a decent long. It takes out the 50 period, and right now it's kind of hovering near the top again, 660. But hey, look, Rite Aid today, downward. Whenever you get a company downgraded like that, and then basically the note in there is like, we think they might have to close, that's not going to be good. We've seen Rite Aid get hit before, and we had a beautiful setup on the daily. I mean, to me, this was actually more important than the downgrade itself. It broke this level, and then we had that monster catalyst. So to me, this was just inevitable to happen. Obviously, it's going to be really hard to pick the bottom, but you see what happens here? Look at the increased volume. It's like you can add up like the last 10 days. That's probably not true, and you'd get today's volume, right? And so that just shows you got to trade the right names, and they have to be hot. Back to you, Neil.
That's right, and you can find the names that are moving every single day, just like Rite Aid, just like HPQ, which we'll get to in a second, on our free daily watch list. Sean goes over his sticky note as well, and you've got to make sure you're checking out what's moved. So it's at watchlist.tradertv.live. You can scan the QR code as well to get that daily free watch list. And speaking of, I mean, we'll jump sort of right to it because Rite Aid was in there. But the other news story, and you mentioned, Sean, it could have been HPQ that you talked about. And the note here from the morning, if you did miss it, Berkshire buying 121 million shares of HPQ, a 4.2 billion stake. You're going to have a big move to the upside. It actually fell first the open. I know we'll get to that, but on the daily, you had a breakout on the daily chart as well. And this is a name where you had to endure a bit of a dip in the morning. But once again, Uncle Warren, or I think you said Grandpa Warren, Sean, comes at another name. He was buying Occidental previously, and you saw what happened with the rally, multi-week rally in Occidental. Of course, oil was strong. Now you've got him into HPQ, and that's running.
He was a monster today, and that was another one that we indicated, hey guys, what's up, Arun, how you doing?
Busy.
Okay, good. Yeah, so you know what? HPQ is a good one. I just want to talk about Ford. I was long Ford here. This is a shout out to Fahad. You know, I'm not going to do the board, so here we go. We'll talk about Ford. No, I'm just kidding. We'll go back to HPQ. I just got out on this downtick right there. We meant to hold Ford off some of these bottoms, but we just got out there at 85. We had a bad wick there, and it triggered my stop order down here at the bottom. So we did get out a little bit, and me and Arun were just talking about fixing up some of these charts and getting these candles going. But let's go over to HPQ. Look, I mean, to me, and I'm going to keep touting this because I don't have much else to do right now, and this happens every single day. But there's that watch list that we're talking about and my sticky note. HPQ, look, HPQ and Rite Aid. We had Facebook on there. We actually were negative on Facebook today. Not much happening there, but okay, there is, but we'll talk about that in a minute. HPQ here, Berkshire taking an 11% stake. We looked at 38 support, and then we wanted to hit the 40 break. So let's see how that panned out. So here's HPQ today, right? Comes back in. We don't take any trades until when? Look what's here, 38. That's our first long. Boom, 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 boom. Huge moves to the upside. $2 winners here as we get out at 40, right? And then in here, right in here, you can see we took out 40. Now, this is going to be interesting here because when we took out 40, and I remember saying it live. And it's like whenever you take out key levels like that, especially when they're that obvious, and let me show you here on a daily chart just how obvious this level was. Well, here's HPQ and here's 40, right? I mean, 40 is really the top right there. But we already made that top back in January. It's 39.80 or something. And then the last couple days, we also made 40 as a top with a little bit of a wick up to 40.30. And then we get down here, and then again, Warren comes through, Berkshire, and takes that stake. So obviously the look is going to be on a 40 break. So with that being said, we knew that there would be some back and forth here when we broke through 40. The thing is, we did have a decent sized position, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to give this back because we could fall back in. And remember, you know, with this market and the volatility that we've seen, who knows where you're going to go with HPQ. Remember, Dell was just downgraded as well. So, you know, there is some, and that's part of HPQ going to the downside. There it is. It starts to blow up, but we don't have enough shares on. It goes to 40.50 and we get out before it taking all the way to the top of 41.40. So we were long this name. We took a 40 bid and we just followed our sticky note. It appears to be working all the way to 41.50 and now back in. HPQ, definitely going to be on the watch here, especially now. And I don't know, Arun, maybe I need your opinion on this as well. What about a break of 40 to the downside here? HPQ has been pretty high now. Upside, we could break this 40 back down. The NASDAQ, though, wow, right back to green on the day. We were down, what, 2% or something near those lows? Right back in, and this is what we talked about, choppy day for sure. Big moves, but HPQ looking to hold that $40 level.
Yeah, I mean, the NASDAQ was down, but keep in mind, 14.2 was going to be the marker where it needed to break for us to actually get going to the downside. We never got going below 14,200. We got as low as 14,320. So we still had 120 points, or 120 points to go before this market would have actually turned negative, and it was something you had to worry about. For now, nice little bounce in that zone. Why would I say 14.2? Is because of the daily. You see where we're landing right in between 14,400 and 14,200. Decent amount of support. Makes sense that we bounced, right? This is, you saw the kind of day we were going to have with the back and forth, and then a nice little close to breaking the low of yesterday on the S&P. Spun around immediately, 30 points to the upside. So here we are kind of moving back in. This is actually a great long setup on the daily time frame just because of the strength you're getting down here. So this is definitely an area to keep an eye on for these tech names. Facebook did a nice little turn. That's a tech name you want to keep an eye on now. Apple bounced right through that 170, broke it, and then snapped right back. That's a good tech name to keep an eye on around those prices. And then HPQ, Sean, you had it, I had it, you were long, I was short, and one of us won, one of us got ran over. This guy got ran over right here. I was short in front of that 39, and it was good. It was the market was a little slow, and then accelerated, boom, right through that 39 against the 40 half. We were looking at 40 half as the exit point. Now that's dealt with and that's gone. The issue now is, how much strength do we have on HPQ north of 40? And it does look like it's stalling quite a bit here. So I definitely keep an eye on how we trade 40 towards the close. Because remember, this is news. So we're probably going to see some imbalance action on HPQ. And then overnight into tomorrow. And if we end up coming back underneath 40, we may have to take another shot at that short again tomorrow and see if we can actually work it against that 41.50 high. Again, depending on how it trades overnight and into tomorrow.
So just before we jump to the next theme here, I just want to note this one. You might like this, Sean. A new core to build a third rebar micro mill. Shares are up today about 1.5%. Strong move for them. They've been a bit of a beast lately. Mill's going to cost $350 million to build. Capacity of 430,000 tons year to date. Up 30% year to date. Of course, materials and some of the metals have been very, very strong, but just yet another one. Now, you gave a case there, Sean, like if there was a breakdown in HPQ, maybe there'd be a possible short opportunity. Nobody can cross that level with the market up. Could be hard. The question becomes with Rite Aid, and you went over this for trade of the day, and let's get to the chart in a second, but you don't really see a price target cut from 16 to 1 very often here, guys, and it's just one of these things where I don't know, why didn't they just say 1 cent? If you're going to throw out that you question whether or not that they have enough earnings to continue operating as a business, what's the point of a $1 price target? Just make it interesting and say 1 cent. But truth of the matter is, when I look at it myself here, you already got that breakdown on the daily. You're through 8. Now you've had that failure at 7. Your pop and fade trade this morning for you, Sean. The pre-market lows were right around this 660 mid. And oddly enough, that's exactly where we're seeing resistance today. So as we get to this level in the afternoon, is the stock dead, volume's dying, or is there a chance for another rollover? I don't know if anyone wants to take a breakout trade there, but is there something left to be done here at that 660 level?
Yeah. I mean, good analysis there, and I'm with you, man. Like when you get a price target cut like that, down from $16 to $1, this is why we talked about this earlier on Rite Aid and what we were looking at. And thanks for the shout out also on Nucor. Shout out to Austin and everybody down there. We were long this name not even that long ago, man. On a daily chart, this was a pick that I had just to diversify a little bit. We were long Nucor, $95, and we loaded it up a couple times. Loaded up Nucor down here. You can see that how there's definitely bottoms. So very similar to how I trade day trading here, a little different because you got to take a little bit of a macro view here, but Nucor with a nice little bump there. And yeah, we have gotten some out at 150, but Nucor pulling back in. It's nice to see that mill being developed again on that side of things. But okay, so you asked if there's anything else to do. So for me, yeah, I mean, why can't we just respect this high rate here, 665? I mean, maybe it's not going to get any higher than that. I mean, you're down 22% right now on Rite Aid. It's a nice move back up. We're still holding a small piece of it, literally like 2% or something of our reloaded spot. Yeah, that is 705, like we talked about. And there's the out 75s, 65s, 50s, down there at 35 as we zoom back in. And then you have this base. I feel like we could retest that again. And what I use as some indicators from myself is this 50 period. You get the change right there. That could have been spanked for a long. We missed it. It is what it is. We're actually working on a few new ideas for you guys. Those videos that we do on the weekend, those evergreens, are probably going to change a little bit. So we're working on that. But there it is right there, 625 break to the upside. And now I'm actually looking at the same thing again. You see we broke here. We broke this 50 period and then came down and tested 650. Well, I'm going to use this 650 area as a short spot. So let's see what happens if it comes back in and breaks. And what is this blue mark, you may ask? Well, I'll answer it. This is what happens when you talk to yourself, Arun. You ask yourself questions and then re-answer them. But that's VWAP, volume weighted average price. So if it comes down and breaks this level 650, then I see a downside move into this, low to mid 30 area. And we'll use at that point our 50 period as our out. So look at this, a break of 650. We'll use 656 as our out. So that's 6 cents worth of risk for where I think we can get back into here, which would be 12 cents. So 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio on a break back lower. I'm a little nervous about taking it without getting a 650 break because again, if I'm wrong, I got to punch out up here. So that's not giving me the right reward ratio. I like Rite Aid for a sell just using this chart, but again, it's going to have to move. And as you see, look at the volume. Can you guys see that? Yeah, you can see that. So keep on this shot here. Look at the volume in the morning. Huge volume. Okay, and now look at it right now, sleepy time. So we're going to have to get a break, a trend change, downside here for Rite Aid, and that's what I'm looking at right now, a break through 650, and your boy will be short.
Ride could be interesting. Around 650, I think the idea initially was to go for a short if we got through, bounce back up, and then take it towards 6 even. Now that we've kind of just went straight through 650, bouncing around 6 even, I don't think that 650 has the kind of juice that you would expect now. Now you have to kind of box it in a little bit further. You got to go against that high that we had this morning, which was around 710 to 720. So I would mark that as a top end and see if we can actually take a shot at 6 even on the downside. Anything in the middle, I just wait to kind of see which direction is going to favor first. If we get towards 7 and start to stall out, maybe a short could make sense there, or even towards 6 even, a long support move, or even a break of 6 even. But apart from that, 650 no longer matters as much, I think, given the activity we're getting around 7 and 6. So why would you just trade right in the middle of that, right? So for me, 650 is going to be something I'm going to put aside. It was important earlier, but now it's just one of those things where we've got more information. This is what happens when trades like this kind of take their time with it. They give you that information that you need to work with. And I think 7 even or 710 into 6 even could be the edges that you want to play with, especially with the type of move you're getting today. I think you got to wait for those edges.
And it's perfectly fine, Sean. Sometimes traders talk to themselves, and they have to. That's how you kind of keep yourself sane and work yourself through some things. I love that there. But we're going to talk Twitter here. They bounced a little bit. I know you're long right now, Sean, but Twitter down 6%. Don't shoot the messenger here, but there was an article this morning or this afternoon. Some employees apprehensive about Elon Musk joining the board, of course, citing some of his history of attacking people he disagrees with. Last time I checked, controversy on there. Of course, that's going to draw more conversation and maybe draw more eyeballs to it. But there was that talk. Of course, when you're talking about today, really, once we broke through that 50, it was pretty much all she wrote this morning, although it did get to this sort of 46-ish level, which was previous support the first time, or I guess the last time we cracked through 60. The first level of support ended up being 46. We've bounced off that. The market's trying to get off the bottom. I see you've got the long in the money right now, Sean. So what's the story here for Twitter? Obviously, some of the news has died down from when Elon joining the board and then sort of being confirmed as an activist investor. His stake has been announced. Where do we go from here with Twitter?
Yeah, so I think doing this makes a lot of sense, and that's what we're doing right now is ringing the register on this Twitter trade. Look, I didn't understand why it was falling all day, to be honest with you. I understand that there might be some problems with Elon Musk and stuff like that, but whatever. Like, as if Twitter doesn't need any more problems. I mean, they've been a problem for a long time. I feel like the only thing they've done right is allowed Elon Musk to go in the public markets and buy the stock. So if he likes the stock and wants to take now no longer a passive stake, right? He's in there now. He can. And they said, what? It's not going to go over 14%, I think. But whatever, that's fine. That's enough anyways. 14% of a company is nice. So let's wait to see. I waited all day for this thing to drop and then break this 50 period. It just happens to be that it was also at 47. So we took this trade, hit it all the way to the upside. Our best out is at 48. Maybe we retrace back down there. But I'm not overly confident about Twitter. It's been a dead stock for so long. You get that Musk bump here from 40 up to 52 and then eventually up to 55. Which, by the way, we had that short as well there at that 55 level. But I feel like you got to buy Twitter if it comes back. And Prad said he's going to wait for 40s. I almost think that you can get involved right here. $42, $43 here for Twitter. But look, it's air up there, right? All we did was motor all the way up to 55 and stopped now. So this is the first kind of a pullback. Like, where's my 20 period again? I'm like having a nervous breakdown here all the time. 1 minute, daily. Here it is, 20-minute. Oh yeah, it's over here because it's the trade of the day. There's really no levels here. So we did bounce around before on that big move upside around this kind of level, 46, 47. So there is something to look at here. That bottom of 46 might be the bottom for a while. We'll see if the NASDAQ continues to make a move down. But for now, I'm happy holding this long. It's not really giving me any reason to get out of this. So I'm going to hold Twitter long. But I think today, the key was patience. You had to be patient with Twitter or else there was really no longs to be had. You either were short or nothing. And I guess you could have taken the short off yesterday's bottom. So when that broke at 50 bucks, it was see you later to the downside. We had a bunch of good trades yesterday on Twitter, but definitely missed that short here today. And again, just too much to look at off the open, and I didn't really think that catalyst was enough to move the market, but for Twitter, and it looks like it did.
Yeah, for me, 49 was going to be the break point on Twitter. I've been actually looking at 49 since the day that we initially popped from 40, right? When we were trading into the 50s and whatnot, 49 held extremely well multiple times, and of course, you're not going to be able to see it on that one, so I'll put it up on this chart here. It held extremely well a bunch of times right through here. So on the way up, we got pre-market on the 5th, then you got same kind of activity on the 6th, and then earlier today, not so much, but it held really well inside of this zone. So taking that break would have been ideal. Of course, when you get down to it, you get to 49, what do you get? A clean move like this, all the way, it went like a buck. It just went straight through there. So no chance of getting a shot. That was a trade. That had to be the trade. Now that we've bounced here, you go back to a bigger chart, like a 30-minute chart. What do you get? We're bouncing. Look at where we're bouncing. Right in front of that pre-market consolidation from the 4th. That puts you in about 46.70. Let's give it some flexibility, call it 46 even. That has to be the next point. So now, if this is going to hold well and get back above 48 and give you decent strength tomorrow, this actually could be a decent long against this 46 and see if we can't get back to 51. So that's the option that you got on Twitter with the way it's moving right now. That 49 short into that 47 area, and now if we're going to bounce off that 46s, then you can see if we can't get back to 50 with that long.
There you go, and obviously going to be a big-time mover. There's one segment that has been very, very strong today, and we talked about this at the offset, and we even mentioned some of these yesterday. We'll get to Costco in a second, but Constellation Brands reported this morning, STZ, they did have a beat at 237 versus 2.1 on the EPS, and then revenue coming in at 2.1 billion versus 2.02. So strong move for them. However, Costco is with the hold your beer. It just doesn't even matter. Like, I want to look at Constellation. It's fantastic. Target's had a good day as well, but it's been Costco. And the run that it's been on, the breakout that it put on today, above that $600 mark, the break that it's got on the daily chart, right? Like in a market that has been, somewhat pulling back the last couple of sessions. I know we're getting to green today, but overall, Costco has been an absolute beast. And the question becomes, for Targets, for Walmarts that are out there that are beasting it, what are we doing with these? Because this is not always a name that we talk about for day trading. Yet when you look at the move that it had this morning, it's hard to get away from. It was a pretty clean breakout trade today when it took out that high. And it's a breakout on the higher time frame of the daily as well. So what are we doing with Costco? Is it too high? Does it need to pull back? Or is it just a matter of riding this unstoppable freight train?
I mean, of course, Costco has to come up, right? The one trade that I actually put a bid on that missed, I was sitting here close to that 287 area. Of course, you see the low of like just underneath 589. I was sitting at 587 and change. So never got the fill. And then Costco moves like this because the bid looks like that. It's 608 right now. Is actually a pretty tight bid, a bid offer, but it's 50 cents at times if you're lucky. And it's done 3.5 million shares, but 3.5 million shares done like this means you're playing across the spread, and you got to be willing to get run over to get your fill. So Costco, the way it's moved, that 90 break, that setup into that 87 area, perfect if you could have gotten it. And now that it's gone north of 210 or 610, why do I keep saying 210? It's 610. Now that it's gone, I mean, it's got nothing stopping it to the upside. If it wants to go to 700, 800,000, who cares? But there's nothing stopping it. So at this point, once it's gone, you got to wait for it to develop more information. In terms of trading, this is what you want. You want that multi-day setup. You got to hit it on the day that it actually takes off. And then if you miss it, or even if you get it, once it's done its run, now you got to wait for another few days or whatever, however long it takes to set up the next read. And the way it's been moving, it's crazy strength, up 4%. You see the volatility. You see the levels that it's cleared, now north of 600, cleared that 590 break to the upside. We got to wait for more information. There's nothing, I wouldn't touch Costco until I got new information on Costco, probably until like middle of next week or so, at which point I should have enough days worth of action where I can be like, you know what, there's a new level I can work with or something like that. But for the time being, if you don't have Costco today, it's gone.
Yeah, I don't know if this is the right environment to pay up like that for those kind of names. I mean, it's strong PE as well, but Costco has a subscription model, right? And Wall Street loves subscriptions, and it's just the membership back and forth. People just I just renew that like it's candy, right? So I think as long as you're doing that, you're in a great spot. Great prices, great products. I'm a little bit surprised about Walmart. I mean, Walmart's been just like, why is retail so strong right now? I mean, I understand that, I don't know, there's more money in people's pockets now than ever, is what the banks are telling us. I don't even know if that's true or not, but they were saying something like there's more money now in the consumers' pockets than there was pre-pandemic. That's probably true, but at the same time, I'm very, very surprised at some of these upside moves, especially with some of the supply chain issues. But then I guess when you're talking about the big box stores, they're logistical geniuses, so they've got it all figured out. And I'm sure that supply chain is not hitting them as much. But heading into the summer, I mean, you don't have, the rallied mode here for Christmas spending. You don't have back to school. Generally, retail, I believe anyways, summertime is a good time for them. I mean, every time's a good time. Everyone's looking to pick up new clothes, new fashion, new this, new that. But is Walmart the store to do that in? I just don't know why we're going to the upside here on a name like Walmart. But hey, man, the price action doesn't lie. Make some nice moves upside here. I look to fade all of these names, to be honest with you. But again, really, really surprised. And look at Walmart, nice move up. And then look at Target, And again, this is why I feel like there has to be more work done here. Target completely, doing nothing, like a muted move here on Target. I thought Target was a better run company, a little higher end, and would benefit from more money definitely in the consumer's pocket. So a little bit surprised on Target there. And just check on Macy's as well. Like Macy's had that high of what? $38, $39, $40 there when we were starting to run. And look at the day chart here for Macy's. Here it is right here. Yeah, 38. Oh, wow, that was a good memory there. 38 bucks. And look at Macy's coming back in. So honestly, I understand why Costco's ripping. I think that makes a lot of sense. I love shopping at Costco. They're not going anywhere. They have the Kirkland brand, good products there, their own real estate. But why is Macy's all the way at the bottom here and Target like that? So maybe someone can tell me, but obviously I don't know the reason. I like Macy's at these levels if the consumer is strong. So for me, I'd be picking this one up. Walmart just kind of is in a world of its own here. I don't know why it's upside.
Yeah, it's a strong move by both, but I mean, Target at least up that 5% today and maybe breaking out finally on the daily. Macy's, I got to hunt for that one because I didn't see anything across the wire. Now, we're going to get to Ford and GM. It's a weird one because GM comes out with rosy projections and telling you how production's back for the Volt, and also they're going to meet all of their targets for the next 2 years and exceed them as well. But they're down today because they got multiple downgrades, and Ford also very weak. But I want to make sure we get to this. Arun, I know you're in System 1 here, and they're up 34%. You had some analyst upgrades yesterday. You had an earnings beat as well. The stock doesn't have a large float. I think it was 30 million or 30 or 60 million. I'll double check that in a second. But it was a relatively small floater, and you've got a big run today in volume actually holding up pretty well in the afternoon. So maybe let's do a 2-for-1 here. Let's talk a little bit about System 1, but also about Ford and GM.
All right, I'll start it off with SST. The reason I went for the long, I mean, obviously, this is one of those things where you see this kind of movement from 19 to 36 in one day, and you're like, oh, damn, okay, that's the kind of potential this stock has. And then you start to notice the movement across the day, right? Into that 24, if we were to ignore today's pre-market, I would argue that 24 is going to have to be the area to watch. If I was watching that stock, this is not a stock I would have looked at unless it did something like what it just did, which is 34%. So once we cross 34 or 24, you would start paying attention to this. And all I notice once we get through 24 is attempted moves to 25, can get going to the downside. Then we try 26s, can't get going to the downside, but every time we pop up, we go down, which tells me there's shorts on the table. So if I know the stock has potential to do something like this, get up to 36, and I can see from looking at the chart that there's shorts coming onto the table, and we just keep inching higher and higher, at what point does everyone walk away from this? And that's what I'm playing for here, which is, if you want to call it a squeeze, fine, but I'm looking for just everyone who's short walking away from this at some point before the end of the day. That's my read, right? I'm putting up about $2 to see whether I'm right or not, but the way it's moving up tells me that there's shorts coming on the table, and every time we get some shorts, we get a move back up to the upside. So why not get those shorts out of the way? That's what I'm playing for. $2 to the upside, see if, $2 stop, see if we can get a move to the upside, and we see the potential of the stock, right? So take a shot at it. Why not?
Just real quickly here, new position alert, so we hit that. We're actually into softy right now. We just took a bid here at 40 off VWAP again, and we're just trying to dance with these names, so let's wait to see if it works. I'm trying to use this 300 as a bottom, 299, 299.90 or so as a bottom for softy. It's been strong today. It's up. It's an up stock in an up market, so we're kind of like, thinking that what could be possibly wrong with this? We'll see, and we will reload this back down here near 300. So heading into the power hour, let's see if Microsoft continues to work. Again, a good stock for me today. We've been trading this okay. We went long, and then it broke right there at noon down to the downside and started to build this 299 base. So here we go. It's now against me 5 cents. We'll reload this near, well, not reload, we'll get average in down near 300 here, and then not give this too much slippage back down. As you see, the NASDAQ, we talked about it being like an inside day, and I mean, look at this. You did get some breaks, that's for sure. We did spend about an hour below this 14,400, but then we made a back move to the upside, and now you're just dancing around. So from a big time move to the upside early, not big time, but we started to go positive, to a downside move, and then back to positive again, and now you're just floating around the 50 period on the NASDAQ. So I think that this is kind of worth a little bit of a shot here, especially oil closing now at NYMEX. You can see there's the big print on the 230 close. Oil right now down flat for the day as oil rallied pretty hard from noon upside to where we are now to become flat for the day. So now with oil out of the way, the NASDAQ dancing, let's go strong on Microsoft and see if we can't pick up a little bit of a low bid here as it's coming in. We're actually bidding $300.15. So we're going to risk here. And I think we can try to hold, like, if the market goes, man, this should be held. We'll take some out at VWAP, or sorry, at the 50 period, which is 70 here. But if we can get a nice little bid, and then we'll only be risking, well, we'll see what our average price is when it comes through. But I only want to risk down to these wicks here, which is 299.80. So if that does break, then we'll get out of Microsoft. But right now, we're holding on to that. And your daily Masters update brought to you by Day Trade the World. Sung Jae Im right now, your lone sole leader at -3. But there's my boy Cameron Smith doing some damage here at -2. We have him to win the whole turn. Hello, Cameron Smith. You see that update there, Arun? All you got to do is talk about it a little bit. Dude hits a birdie, the best putter. The screen, bro. You can't see it, I guess, right? That's the problem. The best putter right now in the PGA Tour, Cameron Smith, leading the way here, and that's my pick to go. We also have Tiger to make the cut. Here's Tiger down here at even. So Tiger Woods, T23 at even. But again, we're really early into this. Some of these big guys have not yet teed off. Another pick for you in my 5-pack. Dustin Johnson, we talked about that yesterday. Let's see if he can make something special happen with Masters, a former winner as well. By the way, Tiger, 5 green jackets. VJ Singh, yeah, I got you. +8. VJ Singh in last place right now. So Prad wants to shout out VJ Singh. But Microsoft is on my mind, as is this Masters tournament. Can't wait to get home, pop a bubbly, and watch what's happening.
Well, I threw it in the chat there. Didn't I see Connor's on there, like, oh, Canada, -1?
Yeah, he's not there anymore. Yeah, there is. Yeah, Corey Connors, -1. Yeah, T4, right? T8 right now.
I mean, normally you hit the O Canada, but I don't know. Like, why not, right? Like, the only Canadian to ever win the Masters is Mike Weir. And the only fact you'll actually probably hear me drop about the Masters is that one there. But go Connors. Let's see what he can do. I know we just talked about Ford and GM. Before we get to the frustrating stocks, and we're going to get to that in a quick second here, we mentioned that uranium was on the move, guys. So, well, we mentioned this morning that uranium was on the move. URNM, just looking at the ETF here, at highs of the day, up 7%. And obviously still kind of churning through, actually hitting off some volume indicators as well. So we talked about Nucor. Some of these plays looking very, very strong, of course, with the conflict still ongoing. So there's a lot that's going to be in the run that's related to it. Quad U is another name that you can look at in there. And it's going to be a hint to what my frustrating stock of the day is going to be. But I want to get yours. We do this every single day. Good day or bad day, there's always something that didn't go perfectly. It could have gone better. So let's hear it. What are your frustrating stocks?
Me, I'll start it off. Pretty simple for me. I mean, yeah, you could argue for HPQ, but I like to read on HPQ. It's HD, Home Depot. For me, for whatever reason, when vaccine stocks were hot, I could not get a handle on Moderna. And Home Depot, I just cannot get a handle on Home Depot because this was the ugliest potential trade that you could have taken. 295, as soon as it breaks, it looked good on the daily. I'm like, hey, we got some space. We go to 294, snap back around, instant turnaround, and there I am getting out at 298. So $3 hit there on Home Depot, which also then when you look at the daily on Home Depot, it completely changes that reversal from 294, completely changes the look of what this 300 break now looks like. So this could turn into a nice long to the upside now with what it just did. And of course, it has to do it on the day that I decide to go for the downside break on the short side, right? And this is kind of the theme with Home Depot. Every time I step into it, this is going to be blacklisted for me. There's some stocks you just can't get a handle on. Home Depot is going to be one of those names, and I am going to take it off my list. Even if it sets up, even if this setup on Home Depot looks golden tomorrow, for a long, let's just say, I won't take it because I clearly can't get a handle on Home Depot, and this is has been not just today's frustrating stock, but just for time on end. Every time I step into it, I probably have a success rate that's tiny on Home Depot. I don't track those individual stocks by like that, but I think it's time for me to stop trading Home Depot because that 295 break got roasted real quick.
Roasted. Yeah, good frustrating stock there. I mean, sometimes, and that's what I mean, like, we talked about Walmart, being frustrating. And I get that it's a cheap stock and therefore it would be good during a recession. But I mean, honestly, like Home Depot, another one that should be working, right? I mean, home builders. I know home builders are going to the downside, but there's more money in consumers' pockets. And hold on a second here before we go over frustrating stocks. Microsoft just up to that 70 level that we wanted to get to, breaking through now. We just missed that as I was looking for my frustrating stocks. Let's put an off here near 67 or 68 here. There it is. A bang, a nice little win right there. And we interrupted our coverage of the market to give you this Microsoft trade. So there it is right there. Shout out to Elizabeth Goodyear. I know you take a lot of the trades that I do, and so does Dinesh right there. So a nice little quick little 50-cent scalp there for 40-cent scalp for Microsoft to the upside. Let's see where it goes now. Yeah, Dollar Tree. And it's funny because if you notice here, good shout out for Dollar Tree. It's on, I own Dollar Tree, but I own Dollarama here in Canada. It's at right now as we'll click. Oops, I clicked on it in e-signal. I have to click on it here in Toronto. I actually don't know if, I think Dollarama, is it DLRMA, I don't know, I think it is, maybe it's DOL in the States as well. But here it is here. Look at this move. Trust me, I'm well aware of dollar stores. I'm in this name as it goes all the way to the upside. It's on my list every day. So yeah, I guess when you think about it, maybe that does make more sense. But remember, in a recession, man, every single category, I guess, I was going to say the wealthy, so on and so forth. Every, what is that called? When, you have, what economic, socioeconomic levels you're at. What was that, Neil?
Demographic?
Demographic. Hello. Yeah, no matter your demographic, I was feeling like they're all going to get hit during a recession, right? But I guess that makes sense. You sort of step down, and maybe if you're used to buying stuff at Macy's, maybe you do go to Dollarama and to Walmart at said time. But my most frustrating stock today is just going to be Facebook, as I want to interrupt with that Microsoft trade. And again, like Facebook, we've been relatively strong on that name, right? The last couple days it has come back in. But I put it on the sticky note today, and I talked about it that I like the long here in Facebook today. But these are all shorts. And the thing is that, the long was wrong. We didn't like the long that much as the market started fading out. But all of these shorts, it's going to be like the only negative stock here today. But the thing is like, it just kept getting stopped out, like taking out these highs. And I wasn't giving enough room. And it was too choppy here in the morning. Although this doesn't look that choppy, for me it was. And it was just, we let it go. We had that short initially. We started cashing in nicely on the short. Then we went short again, cashed in, short, and then eventually out before it falling down. So yeah, it is frustrating to me when I'm just using a 1-minute chart, and I've talked about this with myself too, is adjusting to longer time frames, because like I got stopped out there, and then it only went like another, we got stopped out there at 60. It only went up to another 40 cents up before absolutely tanking down. Like if I still had all these shorts on, we'd be doing a little bit of a different dance today. So for me, the frustrating stock is Facebook. We thought it was going to be relatively strong. It's relatively weak. So now we change up our mind here on Meta. Remember yesterday, Elon Musk had that tweet, was like, can I buy Facebook too, or something like that? I thought that would rally the stock a little bit, but Elon Musk today getting hit on Twitter and then getting hit today on Facebook. Not that he bought any shares, but that rhetoric there getting hit today for Facebook. So yeah, that's my frustrating stock. Neil, do you have a frustrating stock?
Well, before we get into that, because it's an interesting story, but Dollar General, I think you're looking for there, because Dollar Tree, they're the one that raised their prices. Dollar General, I think, kept that buck in the States, and that's why a lot of analysts will say they're going to be a bit better. And I agree with you. That 3-minute chart, man, I'm all about showing the 3-minute chart now. But the frustrating stock for me, and by the way, filling in for Brendan today was a bit of a last-minute thing. I did not even have a trading layout. I had to log in as Brendan. I could not trade this morning. And there was one setup that's about as gold. And I talked about the uranium names and showing you that ETF. It was NXE this morning. This is something we brought to you guys mid-show, mid-morning, I want to say. And we talked about how on the daily, you had uranium names moving big time. You're breaking out at 6 on the daily chart. And watch how perfect this move is. Right at 9:30, you're breaking a consolidation. You take out that 6 on the daily, and then you get this top at about 6.15. It's not even that. You then consolidate at 6, again, the key price, roll right back into that higher low from the open. So the same support gets put in, and then you bounce from there. And even better than that, when it reclaims 6 for your late day run, at that particular time, that's when you had the uranium ETF breaking out. So what's breaking out is this is reclaiming that key level over here on the daily at 6. Sometimes you get levels like this, which trade well in both directions, and it's an afternoon runner. It's still at the highs of the day and still going up. And it's not one of those, oh, it's moving too fast, it's going parabolic. It is a linear move to the upside. It's very, 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 very structured there with NXE. We didn't. I think we might have missed the opportunity to go over Ford and GM there. Sean, I know you're not in Ford anymore, but it was on the board. It was GM that had those downgrades, but Ford was at one point, I think maybe even still is, down a little bit more. They bounced significantly here, actually quite significantly with the market off the bottom. But the overall, both names have been in trouble. Yeah, they're almost right back to those morning lows. But what do we think about Ford and GM? Just because I think we missed it.
Another Microsoft win there. Yeah, so I was short GM, Arun's GM, I'm Ford. So I was short Ford here. Little frustrating. I almost use this as the frustrating stock because we went short initially and got stopped out thinking like, we're going to be wrong. And then we were not wrong. Well, we were good to get out because it went to 15.20. So being short 15 there and having to hold at 20 cents, I had too many shares, was not willing to do that. But the good thing is, and we'll do a little Barry Horowitz, pat ourselves on the back here, as it comes back, that's an old WWF reference, not even WWE there. Look it up, Barry Horowitz. But there it is, 15.05 to the downside. We wind up short. It just keeps falling down in. We were able to take some out. Our last out down here at 14.62, which was almost the bottom for sure. And then we went long right here on a break back above this 14.70. We were holding this 50 period, so we decided to go long. And technically, I would still be long right now. Unfortunately, this wick happened and ticked us out on a bad stop that we wind up getting out right there. Should have reloaded it at 14.70 there, but now you're going to the upside. Maybe looking for a short now for Ford because look, and this is what I said yesterday to the group when we were talking, and I was just teaching a little bit, and not really teaching, just talking about, well, I guess it was teaching, that if we ever broke down below this 15 here, and this just happened yesterday, that we wanted to try to get that short because it's broken below some of these levels. And if you're trading and you're stuck here at 17, at 18, at whatever, you played this 200 period, maybe you went long at 17. I feel like a lot of people would have got called on their outs here at 15. So there's the break down through for 15 and a good move downside for Ford. I'm a buyer of Ford, but it has to come down a little bit more. I'd like to see it into this 13 area before we pick up some Ford. But right now, yeah, you can tell it's a 6 stock. So just like the Home Depot, just like the Costco breaking out, this is really just continuing to break down. And honestly, there may not be a bottom in sight until you get to this $12 or $13 mark. So I like the short here in Ford, but it doesn't mean we can't play the long. We actually did make a decent amount of money back on that long. So again, if you look at this chart, you can sort of see a change in direction here, back upside. We managed to take the long on the 70 break and then get them out at 85. So I like Ford here. I don't know if you have a longer. Are you still in GM, by the way?
No, I just got out of GM not so long ago, actually. So same way Sean was short on Ford. I was actually short on GM in the pre-market. Around that 39.50, we mentioned that 40 break off the daily chart is what the read was on GM. Let me pull that up for you guys. So this is a trade that I was in. That 40 break, pretty good chance we weren't going to get back to 40, so I just took it in front of 39.50. Got filled at 47, 39.47, and then waited for the market to open. We broke right through that 39 and then snapped back up, at which point I'm like, you know what, 40 cents is pretty good on half. So dumped half in front of that 39, waited for the rest of it. Obviously, you see the downward move, right? Oh, you can't see the downward, the charts. Okay, so I'll just leave it up here. It's in the top corner. You see the downward move right there as we carried from 39 all the way down to 37.60. And then on the trail, it was 38.50 was the trail point, which broke not so long ago, actually. So I am out of GM north of 38.50. We're flat on, we're completely out of GM, just waiting on the 2 shorts and the 1 long to get going. Neil?
Yeah, we got a bit of a runner here. BFRI, Biofrontera there, making a big run. It's a 3 million floater, guys, so watch out for the low float here. But it's taken out the high of the day multiple times. But it's coming upon this 475 area on the daily chart. You can see back here, if you go back to early February, it just tried to get through 450. So you have a bit of a curl happening right now at that even price and overhead resistance at 475. I was checking, there was some report on some revenue yesterday as far as a particular particular catalyst today, I haven't seen anything just yet. There has usually been a lot of social media chatter on this name, but it's getting right up to a very key price in the daily chart at 475 and volume spiking in the last few minutes.
Yeah, I see that BFRI. Right now, I mean, we're spiking our net right now. Let's go cha-ching on that one, or just do that. As it's a nice little dollar winner for Microsoft that we just put on for you guys at 2:30. So $1 in 20 minutes as Microsoft retraces right back up to the upside. Again, find the stocks that you like, man, and hit them. And we like Microsoft, as you know. So that was a good take for us on that one. This BFRI, very interesting. I like that talk there about that daily level there, 75. That's pretty key. What Neil is talking about, if and when this loads, it's right here. Okay. It's literally that 75 level. So I think if you take that out, then yeah, why not? Let's take a long. BFRI taking out 475. I like it. And I think that you could probably put some risk associated with this. So that is 475 break. That means we need to go 478 or something. If it does go a little bit higher than that, we'll take that long. So 475, I like that break. A lot of volume coming in right now. I don't know where that's from, but what a big move up there. Taking out that 380, now dancing near 475. We're going to have to pay for the shorts, so Arun, don't bother looking at it. But I don't mind that long to see if we take that out. So let's see. Again, if it takes it out, great. If not, we'll look to try to make about 25 cents up to 5, which means we'll give it back down to 450 where it's dancing right now. So BFRI doing a little bit of a dance here. We'll take it out if it takes out that 475. And again, on the daily, it looks pretty good, man. You have some consolidations down here, so no surprise why we ripped off that. Volume not huge, man, 1.7 million. So let's see, is there going to be enough steam to take this out? I hate trading these because when they come out of nowhere with really not too much news, then you know it's kind of just like a pump and then a dump. So shout out to all the other Twitter channels out there that are probably doing that. But for me, I like that daily. We'll see a 475 break. That's where I'm going to take it, and hopefully be able to get out on some liquidity if we take that 5 down.
BFRI, I'm not going to touch it. Potentially, the only thing I could have done was go for the short. But then as I was pulling it up, Sean says, you got to pay for shorts, and you know how that goes with me. So I instantly closed it. I'm like, you know what, never mind. We'll move on from that. Neil?
Why are you coming to me, man? That's, come on. I mean, one of these days, we're going to get you on those. And look, I think obviously there is an opportunity to trade it, but it's going to be worth it. I think you can trade it in either direction. I just wanted to quickly, I had moved it away on my chart, but I wanted to quickly get it back up for you guys because I think there's a secondary trade. I know I'm not on the trading desk here today, but if and when you were to pay for shorts like that, see what happened when it got impressed toward that 475 area? It got to 465, and that's why Sean's looking for a breakout. You want to get past that area on the daily chart, and you immediately consolidate lower, and you start to fall back. Now, I'd be looking at 420. That also happens to be VWAP, but you take a look at that 420 level, even on the daily chart, when it made the rejection of 475 here, the next level down consolidation resistance was just below that 420 mark. So I think there's a decent chance that you could have a bit of a bounce there for that particular name. But I'm kind of curious because we've gone over the positions here, but I don't know that we've heard you talk too much about Datadog there, Arun, and that wasn't one that we were looking at earlier today. So I'm kind of curious what's going on with Datadog.
Datadog, the one that I'm getting run over on? Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Neil, for bringing that one up.
We can talk about Datadog.
Wow, Neil.
Scam Datadog.
Wow, Neil.
Okay, yeah. Datadog, it's just like HD, of course. Went for this move. Went for the daily break here through that 135 area. So you see me priced just below 134. And what does it do as soon as it gets there? It decides that we're going to do a full U-turn all the way back up. I should be getting
NASDAQ is running right now, by the way.
NASDAQ, it's hitting support levels.
Look at these wins we've got on right now, guys. We'll just do a little bit of a beat down right here. Microsoft, $1.20 in the money. Twitter, $1.10 in the money right now. Twitter trying to take this down, man. This 48.40 right now. Try to take this out on Twitter. Nice size move there. We talked about getting long 47. I even went over to my kid and was like, God, take that 47 long there. Nice little breakthrough. Now we'll see if Twitter can get going back up to the upside. $1.20 now for Softy, $1.20 for Microsoft and for Twitter, and Rite Aid. This is why we didn't short that Rite Aid break, man. It is on the way back up. I'm waiting for it to get to some more key levels, but nothing more key than hearing, listen to this rhyme, from Miss V.
Hey guys, NASDAQ just joined S&P 500 and Dow in turn positive, and we actually have a poll on the chat. If you think we will hold that positivity into the close and close into the green territory, so please participate, and also don't forget to like this video. Around 1 hour left until the end of this trading day, and we're only at 300 likes. We deserve better. Back to you guys.
You want the weed, Batman? You want weed, Batman? AC Bonneville? You got it, man. You know, I can't be the people's trader, Arun. Self-proclaimed, by the way, on that one, if you don't give the people what they want. So let's go over to Tilray real quick. And yeah, we're not talking about, you know, getting too psychedelic here, but Tilray, look, and I hate to do this to y'all, but we talked about this one. It's a downside move on Tilray, man. And I didn't want anything, go softy. I didn't want anything to do with this name until we break above much keyer levels than this. And I said this earlier, I don't have a problem paying up. This is a 20-minute chart. We got to break $9 before I do anything with this name. I'm already in this from a hell of a long time ago. And I don't know, I'm holding the bags on it. We were able to get out, but look at Tilray. It's just disgustingly weak. They all look like this. I don't care what you're looking at, Grow Generation brands. I like that one, but again, you know, there's been reasons why that's not performing either. ACB, Aurora, CGC is my favorite. But Tilray, they did get the expansion with Afria. They took them down and merged through. So some of these companies are now turning profit. We saw that with Tilray. They had an EPS beat positive. I think they beat by 17 cents and reported a plus 7 cent EPS. So they're doing fine. They had some nice moves to the upside there. But again, all of this action comes on the proposed bill. And the bill passes, and we still go to the downside. So all that's happening here is the smart money is using our money to get out on. And again, sounds like other channels. And then all the way back down here to 628, 630. So I don't know, man. I'm not going to let Tilray run me over. I'd rather run this thing over. And it has to be at least a break, and this is what I'm talking about, at least a $10 break to the upside. I'd much rather pay up for a name, especially like big cannabis names, once we know that the Senate, you know, is getting a little bit, you know, jiggy with it. Shout out to this situation again. When we talk about getting jiggy with it, as Microsoft right now, $1.50 in the money. We are easily at the highest spot we've been at all day. But that's my cannabis minute there. And honestly, you need to play these names on moves, on news and things like that. If you don't have a catalyst for cannabis, then honestly stay away, because it's going to happen to you every single day. I would just keep playing the short until you get back to that $5. But here goes Microsoft. I'm thinking about getting out of this name. The NASDAQ has had a huge move off the bottom. We are nicely in the money now, up to $3, 302. So now $1.50. Twitter's working as well. So far, it's been a good day here for me on some of these tech names. We're always got to stick with Softy. What's up, Ms. V?
Hey guys, we received a super chat from John Wilkins sending us emoji showing thumbs to the upside. Thank you so much for supporting the community. And earlier we got a super chat from Nick W asking if Arun could take a look at NEM on daily chart. Newmont Corporation is a mining company, 3 million volume and up more than 2%. So Arun, could you review NEM for us?
All right, I'm just going to look at it from a technical perspective here. Newmont Mining's going strong. It is Newmont Mining,
yep.
Right? Yeah, Newmont Corporation.
Corporation, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Moving strong, obviously. Trend looks pretty solid. That's pretty obvious. But when you look at the daily, break it down, they're stalling out around this 80. Makes sense, round number. We got there in early March, fell off, tried again, got close, had to come back a little bit towards 75, and then finally got through that 80. Now we're kind of working the zone a little bit. Longs could be solid, given how it's been moving, and I think that by the end of this week, you should have more than enough information to figure out whether this is actually going to bounce off these 80s or not, because the issue is, if we were to lose that 78 level, which would put us just below all of this activity on the way to the upside, and then any bounces from the top, if we were to get back underneath it, I'd be worried about what resistance is up here north of 80, because there's a lot going on. You see the volume spike. The volume on the 18th was, how many shares was that? It was like 24 million, 2.4 million. I got to really look into that one, but it was rather high on the 24th. So definitely, or not the 24th, the 18th. of March. That's the day you got to keep an eye on for volume spikes from that point on.
That is millions, 25 million.
25 million. So from that point on, it's just been chopping around that 80, finally working that zone from the top end. If we can get a bounce by the end of the week, I think you've got to say, hey, decent long setup with a 78 stop. It doesn't have to be that deep because you see the activity is going to be concentrated around that 80, right? So the stop doesn't have to be that far out. So as long as it's strong to close out the week, then you have a decent chance for it to extend. If we get a weak move towards the sell side as we close out tomorrow, I'd be worried about what activity is up here, right? So then I'd want to see more on the buy side south of 79. And if we lose 78, I think shorts are on the table, especially with how fast we've moved up from that 60 marker. It's easy for this stock to take a break and maybe head back down towards the low 70s into the 71, 72-ish area. So definitely keep an eye on this 80 area and how we close out the week, because that is critical. Between 78 and 80 even is going to tell you exactly whether the strength is to extend to the upside or whether we're actually going to turn around because we're hitting a huge patch of resistance on the sell side.
All right, yeah, great analysis there. Yeah, gold, obviously, I think you got to diversify a little bit into your portfolio. So if you like Newmont, I think that's a good call there. I'm obviously in Nucor and in some energy names as well. As boom, this is what we're talking about. Let's get the Turkish delight going here. What a move to the upside for Twitter. Twitter right now $1.40 in the money, and Microsoft $2 in the money. As the NASDAQ is starting to blow to the upside right now, trying to get back to day's high. I'm like debating getting out of all of these as the net is just skyrocketing right now. So I don't know, but Microsoft is really saying, hold my beer, Sean, because we're going upside right now. A little piece out there seems silly to get it out for 40 cents now, as you're now $2 into the money. And this is what I need to work on, holding stuff, right? Microsoft comes right upside. We're about to take out this high. I don't want to average into this play. I'm pretty happy where we are right now into the money. Obviously, we always wish we had more shares. Traders, I guess, dilemma on that one. But we've been going only long on Microsoft today. And this is just what I need to get better on. I know, Arun, when you hold stock, you do take $3 hits. You got to open it up like your dash trade. You got to open it up. You got to open up the time frame. But for me, like, I just wish I'd be able to hold. Like, we were only looking long on Softy today, and right now, finally at 3 o'clock, you're back into the day's high. But that's what traders do, man. Especially when you're like us and you're sitting here making 160 trades today, 160 fills. You know, you're going to get chopped up by noise, and that's something that I need to do much better at. Try to avoid some of the noise and just try to make the solid calls. And if you have to hold them, you have to hold them. But, you know, Microsoft was already down to 296 earlier this morning. Monster move up to 302, and that's right where we're back in right now. So I don't really have a target where to get out of this name. I'm actually going to... You're not in any too crazy positions, are you?
No, I've just
like,
got
what would you do with this Microsoft? Let's be like, so now I'm $2.50 in the money, and I know what you're going to say. What you're in the money doesn't matter. I'm trying to figure out where would a good out be. Do I get out if we take back this 302.50 and then hit that closing shot of the day there, or what? But like right now, Microsoft continues to move. I'm interested to hear your take on this one, Arun.
I'd say 302 should be good.
302.
The reason I would say 302 is because one, the NASDAQ bounced off that huge support zone from 14.4 to 14.2. We bounced off that 325 area. So that gives you decent strength to the upside, right? Around 14.320-ish. So now as the NASDAQ clears the upside, there's no resistance to the upside on the NASDAQ, right? We have space all the way up until about 750. So decent space to the upside. Microsoft, the number 2 stock, weighted in the NASDAQ. And it's about to take its highs. That's not it. Microsoft is this one here. It's about to take its highs. Once it gets past 303, I mean, there's nothing really stopping this. This can get going. So if we were to fail, and this is the only thing you got to worry about.
That's all.
Because
like, where do we get out if we
at
fail?
this late in the day, what you have to worry about is if we were to just take out the highs and then snap back down as it's about to go to 303, the only thing you have to worry about is false breaks, right? But highly unlikely you get a false break with the markets moving like this. So all you have to do is say, hey, we worked around that 250 into that 202. If you fail south of 202, just walk away from it and call it a day, and you're locking whatever you've got.
Thank you, Arun, with the pew-pew there on that. And I was actually looking, honestly, at that 302. But to me, like, I might have even taken this 302.50 out there. But I do think that, yeah, giving a little bit of room back there. And again, sometimes using different charts, different time frames will help you. A 20-minute, not really. I use 20-minute just to see some, like, key levels. Like Arun was talking about, there's room to the upside here, especially if the NASDAQ does want to blow a little bit higher. So we're going to watch out for that one. The NASDAQ now starting to move, obviously, in the right direction for us. So good trading there for Microsoft. Rite Aid, not really doing too much here for Rite Aid. So we're going to have to watch out for that one as that's up to 670 again on the 1-minute chart. Trying to get back into some of these levels. Like if we get back anywhere near 7, like as far as I know, Deutsche Bank came out and just didn't make a call on today. They made a call on their business period being over with. So let's see if that comes back down here. Deutsche Bank is definitely on this name. We're going to see if we can short Rite Aid at some point. But I'm going to put this trade in for Microsoft because we are coming back into that 202 level. So let's see if we can't get a little piece out here on Softy back into 202. So I'm going to take that advice, Arun, put a stop order around that 202 level, and then forget about it. And if we get back into 300, obviously that'll be a reload position. Hey, I'm happy taking $1.50 on this. So let's put that stop in at 202 flat now, guys.
Yeah, SSD, for everyone wondering what I did with SSD.
302, sorry.
302. SSD, remember we were long 27.37, I believe was the average price. After we put in the new highs, north of 28, instant move back down. What I worry about was that 27.50, and we got through there and I just got out. I walked away with not even 3 cents. It's 27.4005 is the average price on the exit. So yeah, I'm done. It's going back towards the highs, but I don't want to sit on this anymore because I've seen what it needed to see, which is exactly what I was worried about with Microsoft as well. If we put in a brand new high and do a false move or a fake high break, I got to worry about it. Even though I'm looking for a high break, I don't want this kind of a spin that quickly. Yes, I'm out. Yes, it's going back towards its highs. I'm okay with it because this is what I don't want to see, which is the move back up and then smash back down through the highs as we move back through those 50s. So I can take my 3 cents, walk away from it. It's also, we're in the final 55 minutes, less than an hour before we get to close. We got 45 minutes before the imbalances come out. Futures taking off to brand new highs. We got 45.05 on the S&P. And I don't even know where we're sitting on the NASDAQ, but NASDAQ sitting 0.59% to the upside.
Holy
so
crap.
Decent strength to the upside. On index names, obviously you give it a little bit more space, like Microsoft. On these non-index names that are going to do their own thing, you don't give it that much space because you're looking for something very specific. And if that doesn't happen, you walk away with your profit if you have it. In this case, I had 3 cents. I'll take 3 cents. 3 cents is better than nothing. Covers the fees, makes a little bit on top of that. Why not, right? I also got out of Dash, by the way. Dash, my longest held trade so far, from 114 shorts, got out some in front of 110. It went as low as 107.50 or 107.20 something, and then trail stop on the rest of it above 111. So we're walking away with $3 on the remaining portion of Dash, and then about $4 on the first half of Dash on the way down. So here we are, cashing out of Dash and SST, walking away completely. There might be a trade to take before we close out the day if I find one, but for the time being, I'm not going to rush into anything else. Neil?
That's what we call a hold there. Good one there, Arun. And speaking of things coming back up, because you saw Dash make that bottom, come back in, cash in. Cassava Sciences, and a big turnaround happening. I know there's AMC in the GME putting in some bottoms as well, but Cassava was at 11% at one point, getting absolutely crushed. You can see the last few days it's been in the tank, but it made a wipeout bottom right off of $25. It just got back to what was morning resistance at 10 o'clock, right at 28.50. So some really key levels starting to come in here. It's a strong run from the bottom, and sometimes it's those wipeout bottoms that cause these big turns. So I saw Sava there. I know GME went 142 to 150. AMC also making some moves, but Sava stood out to me as something that would be shocking if it were to get green. Quite the move happening in the overall market back to the upside, but even some of these crush names the last few days starting to go back up.
Yeah, Cassava Sciences, interesting name there as always. But we're going to look LGVN. I heard someone say, let's get our Longeveron popcorn ready to go here. I don't know, it's not really doing anything, LGVN. And I will look at that in a minute just to show you guys. But okay, so Twitter, we let that thing go all the way to the upside here. And now, because we're talking about outs, I have a stop order. I thought I did. Yeah, there it is right there. I'm going to cancel my BFRI. That didn't do anything. Breaking through 20. So if we break through this 20 level right here, let's get out. VWAP is at 25, a little bit lower, 48.20 into this area right there. You break back down below. I don't want to wait to 48. Don't want to give up 20 extra cents. There's no need to do that. So we're going to get out here. Twitter, what a great move that's been from 47. So again, out, like, you know, this is the problem that I have. Again, we talk about this, getting out a little too early, but, you know, that crystal ball worked out pretty good for us today on Twitter. It's working out great for us on Softy, as that's still $2.40 into the money, but we're going to take Twitter out here if it does take down 20, and that looks like it's about to happen right now. So this little take right there is actually 16. You know what? Let's cancel that a little bit. Now that I notice it, it's not necessarily 20. It's this level that I'm talking about right here. So a break of 15. Let's change that up. Let's go over here to Twitter and put out our stop order. Oops, TWTR here on New York, and put that at 15. So, and that nice little bump back up there for Twitter. So we're going to see if we can absorb that right here, 48.15. That's going to be my stop spot for Twitter, just to give you guys a quick little update. We may even take longer on this thing if we break above again here, 48.60. That could be a good take. Let's try to do that. If we go above 48.60, maybe we get a little longer here in Twitter, guys. 48.15.
All right. All right, I'm just looking for futures positions, possibly. I'm just kind of going over what I can potentially do on the futures, and it's, of the NASDAQ, it's either going to be 14.2 or it's got to be 14.8, right? 14.8 probably provides an upside move as well, but 14.2 was a much better way to catch bids as they were coming back down. Anything from 14.4 all the way down to 14.2 was better. Now that we've bounced off that 44 or 45 area from on the S&P side of things, yeah, well, great. Why couldn't we get into this zone earlier this morning where we were able to catch it on the downside instead of coming into it late in the day with this kind of strength? I'm still open to the idea of shorts in this zone. There's no way this is setting up for a short right now or today. It's probably too late for today, and the strength on this, you cannot ignore this. So strength moving into a sell zone, we'll keep aware of the sell zone, but once we get above 45.30, we can start looking for longs. If we can find some sort of a setup tomorrow, even through overnight into tomorrow, as we work on the short side, if we can find it in this zone, great. I'd be open to taking a shot on the short side if we can find that setup. But for the time being, as we are closing up 0.72% to the upside, as of right now, with 50 minutes left to go, 0.73% to the upside on the S&P, 0.65 on the NASDAQ, and crude down 0.03%. Actually, no, that can't be right.
Yeah.
No, because crude would have closed at 330. That's probably a new
230.
Yeah, that's probably a new number. Okay.
Oh, it does electronically. So
yeah,
it does electronically trade. You just won't get the volume there into that move. Okay, so Twitter's going upside there, breaking this high. So yeah, man, we are really cooking with gas now as Twitter takes out these highs. Microsoft now $3 a rune. It takes out that 303. We are now $3 in the money now for Microsoft as that continues to go to the upside. So like, wow, yeah. Pretty interesting day for me here today as we continue to go. Every day this week's been a good one for us. And then we'll go over to SoFi. What's been a bad day for SoFi is getting a lot better, man. SoFi touches his all-time bottom again of 760. I believe that's the all-time low, unless that was right there. But either way, now it looks like it made it today. So all-time low here for SoFi touched and now bounced back up. We do get that negative catalyst for them, obviously, talking about Joe Biden, but getting involved with the student loan program, and obviously that's a big one for SoFi. So delaying the payment on that, not good for SoFi's bottom line, that's for sure, as it comes in there. And yeah, 18.16 right now, that nice little top for SoFi. So if you were thinking about a pullback in, you know, maybe you might want to get out of your SoFi right now. You only have, and again, we talked about this, it's hard to trade in this last hour because There's a lot of positioning happening for tomorrow even, let alone what's already happened today. So some of these upgrades and downgrades and whatnot, the positioning's already been had for some of these names. So SoFi here, maybe the dogs are out on this name. Like, they're out. We already got taken that on the downside. Now you're starting to push upside here on SoFi. I mean, to take a long here isn't the end of the world, because you do have an 8 protection there, let alone all this congestion here at 790, 795. So SoFi starting to work, man, from how bad it was to how good it is right now. SoFi, a nice little turnaround day on that one. What's a good price to buy Microsoft for long term right now? It's a good question. Back in, you know, we could talk about that here. What's up, Smith? Good last name and good first name on our chat here. What's up, Smith? Here it is right here. I saw Microsoft and I talked about your long. Are you talking about long term or long for the stock? You know, the market, nice update today. I don't know if I'd push any longer right now in this market. Like, I'm debating getting out. And Arun, I'm actually changing my stop now. Does that make sense to do that when you get an upside move? Like, now it's already up to 303. I'm debating, instead of using this 302 right there, I'm almost trying to use this area right here, 302.50, because we've broken back up. We've got that nice little dollar in now, $3 in the money. That's the level that we were working with before, this 302 right there. But I'm thinking now about this 302.50 as my new out, which is still 75 cents away. So I'm going to change that right now, and because I just don't want to give up the rest of this move. Nice move for Microsoft. I'm going to change that to 302.50. So for me, I wouldn't go long at these levels, but I'm well happy to hold the long that we currently have, Smith.
Yeah, my
Use trailing stops ever?
I do put trailing stops, but don't have a good experience with doing that before, which is moving the trailing stop. You're trying to lock in more profit, because the reason why you would choose a level is because there's something there in terms of volume, right? So now you're stepping in front of that volume, which was at 250, between two even and 302 and 302.50. If you're sitting now at 302.50, there's still volume there in between that same area that you're trying to get out at now. So the worst case scenario is it swings down, gets you out, and then snaps right back up because the volume's still there.
And that
but you move and then you move your stop up too quick. That tends to happen if your levels are, if you're getting very aggressive trying to lock in profit. That's one of those things where I just gotten to a point where I'm just like, you know what? If it's going to come back, it's going to come back. In like Dash's case, right? I'm sure at 114, it's almost $7 in the money, but my stop is still locking in only $3 because my stop is now at 111, right? That's my trailing stop.
Right.
So it's like you got to do the better way for me that I found is making sure I cash out as much as I want on the way down, because I really have no choice on where I can put my stop on the trailing stop, right? It has to be where it needs to be, not where it wants to be or where you want it to be. So for me, that 111 is where it had to be, so I had no choice for Dash. So I had to choose that 111. Would have preferred, obviously, maybe 100, 110, or even 109 just to lock in more. But again, that's where the stop needed to be. So cash as much as you possibly can with your targets on the way down, and then the trail stop has to be where because you don't want to miss out on the move. You want to participate in the move as much as possible if it's trending. So you need to give it space to move around a lot. And I think that's the big difference in our styles of trading, is that I will give it a ton of space to move around to actually get going. And versus if you're scalping, you're always just trying to catch as much as possible on the current leg of the move, right? So that's the difference. Depends on what kind of trader you are. If you are that type of holding trader like I am, then you're probably going to need to give it space. If you want to cash as much as possible and scalp, then you're going to need to set some targets, and you've got to be okay with it continuing without you if that's going to happen. Neil?
Great look as always there, boys. And I want to get to a mover here, breaking the high of the day. Meridian Biosciences, they did report this morning. Q2 revenue was 109 million to 113 projection, and that's a record for them. It is a runner, and I think what's interesting about it is at the high of the day right now, but you've got to break on the daily chart. So 2730 here on the daily has already been tested one time just a week ago, and we've broken through that here on those earnings. So sometimes, look, whether it's going to be able to continue here, you can see it at the high. It's also a multi-day breakout, and of course, you have that break on the daily chart as well. So certainly one maybe to file away. Got the catalyst in the right space, given that pharmas and healthcare very, very strong today. So Vivo, yet another mover.
Look, I mean, yeah, definitely some names making big-time moves here today as this market is really battling back. Thanks, Arun, for the analysis there. I'm going to put my stop for Microsoft at 300. So, and I think a key thing that Arun said there, too, is, you know, you still got to stay true to the style that you have. So, for me, being able to hold it all the way up here has been amazing for me. We are now $3 in the money, and I'm just not going to give this one back too much further than this 300. We'll give up. I mean, it's a pullback down of 60 cents. We're only in the money $3. So that's not bad. It's about 25% pullback down in. So we'll take the profit there, and then we'll beat ourselves up when this thing goes to 305. But for right now, pretty happy with this position. So we're going to do that. And then on our Twitter stop as well, this one I'm going to actually give to VWAP, that back down here, 48.27. That's going to be $1.20. So we're long right now, $1.70 in the money on Twitter. I'm going to give this one back to VWAP and see if that works. Really, if I could change my frustrating stock of the day, I would put my frustrating stock of the day to our charts because, like, this was really silly. We got out there, and then I just kind of left it because I didn't like. It's like what you said there. When stocks are trading in levels where I don't have like conviction, I'm not just going to rebuy it because I got out there. But I liked holding it from where we were in on the long, and now it's just like it never took down this 50 period. So this is a name that I would be in still as Ford just makes a march back to the upside. We killed Ford to the short side for sure. We were short earlier, got out, then re-hit this short and rode it all the way down to the downside before flipping over to long and then getting out at 85 there on that wick to the downside. But right now, Ford's looking like it wants to break back down. You have that 1505 top. So I'm debating right now on another short into Ford, giving it to that 1505 there. So that's a level of consideration for me with Ford. So I'm going to try to do that right now, I believe. Go short into this name. It's broken back down below on the daily chart here. Forget about the 20 period. Actually, I might just get rid of the 20 period right now because as the day goes, there's really going to be no levels. This is something to look at earlier on. And right now, the 20 period's not giving me anything on Ford. So I think a 1 minute trade here for this name might be worth it. What does GM look like? Is that marching back? Because, yeah, GM's turning around. They're like almost. Not almost, they do look identical. So Ford and GM right now doing a little bit of a dance. There it is. We did get out of our softie there, Arun. So we will end that trade and do a little cannon, fire that off. Because right there, that's a big trade for me, man. $2.70. And not only that, I'm really happy for this trade for multiple reasons. One of the first ones is that we gave it to you. Like, this was a trade that's a brand new trade that was taken at 2:30 while the show was on. I interrupted. We gave that trade. It went against us, giving every trader an opportunity to get back in. So see, this is what I do, Arun. And I'm like, oh, good thing I got out at 303 because now I save myself 20 cents. But that's like so short-term thinking, like that's part of my problem. There is the scalp mentality. But hey, if it works for you, I think part of that makes sense as well, right? Like, you know when to strike when the iron's hot on the futures. And a lot of that takes, and actually I heard Arun talking with, was it Kush over here? No, another individual, or maybe it was Kush. And you were talking about giving a strategy a month or something, remember?
Yeah.
And I think that that's really part of me growing as a trader as well, is to understand that, you know, some of these new moves and, you know, me holding out right now for that big move there. And thanks to the net for that as well, going to the upside. But, you know, part of it takes time, effort, and a little bit of patience to develop these new strategies. So looks like for now it was a good out on Microsoft. I'm pretty proud about that. But we will get back in again if we get back down. Like I said, into this 301, 302. But again, we only have now 27 minutes until the imbalances come out. And at that point, you know, anything is good to go here on the market. So we'll look at that, but, you know, not much to expect. Oh, what I want to ask you about the imbalance is actually another question here. Yeah. When you get a choppy day like this in the NASDAQ, and I think we both agree that it's pretty choppy now, do you expect sometimes to get big imbalances numbers on those days, or like
probably not?
Yeah, okay, because that's part of it. Our traders, and we use Financial Juice as a website there that gives an early indicator there. And, you know, sometimes they'll say, oh, you know, 200 million to buy or something, but it's a relatively choppy day, so I kind of ignore that number. But even if it's only 200 million to buy, but maybe the NASDAQ is up like 2 or 3%, is that something that you look at, or are you just sort of saying, let's see what the imbalance is and then maybe act after that 350 number? Like, is there any opinion?
It's a matter of regardless of whatever people are saying beforehand, it's all about what happens after 355, not even 350. It's about 355 because that's when you get the floor update, right? Well, that's when you're either confirmed or denied by the floor in terms of the direction of these imbalances and what the sizes are going to be. So if you have it, let's just say on a day like today where markets are up 0.6% roughly, and the imbalances come out to the buy side in the direction of the market, and we make a move to the upside, and at 355, you get an update on these imbalances and they end up flattening out. It means that positive before the floor update and then negative from the floor, which is canceling out the imbalance. So end of the day, you're probably not going to get a whole lot of activity. If you get activity at 350 and then confirmed by the floor at 355, then you have a bunch of activity going on in the same direction at the end of the day. And that's what you got to keep an eye on. So it gets a very intricate and detailed. You got to know these imbalances, but for general information, this is what, for anyone who doesn't know what it is, kind of leads right into what I kind of do with the imbalances. This is what we're talking about. When it comes to imbalances, every stock has to close out at a specific price, their official closing price. Everybody can participate in that official closing price if you put an order or you send an order to your broker with a specific tag called an on-close tag, right? So on-close order tag. So those orders that have all been tagged like that are then sent to the exchange, and they're held until 350, at which point they release that information on how much volume needs to be done and executed at the end of the day on that official closing price. And all that information is going to be then put through an imbalance locator like we have on our system, which is kind of built in. This is Prosper Pro 8 or P-Pro 8 from Daytrade the World, built in-house only for offices from Daytrade the World or associated with Daytrade the World. So it's not available for use outside, not for sale, none of that stuff, right? This is built in-house for us. Your broker probably has something very similar, but called differently or somewhere in the system, whatever broker you use. So you just got to figure out what it is. And then it's roughly going to have information like this: the symbol, obviously the stock name, the direction of these official imbalances, and the size that they're coming out in and what's been paired or the pair value. So let's just say in this case, this is old information from the morning, right? Actually, ARCA shouldn't even be here. That's why let me just activate the filter and close that ARCA. So this is from this morning. As you can see, 9:30 is the closing time for this, because that was the last update for the morning imbalances. Closing imbalances come in about 3:50, so 25 minutes. Paired value is how much has already been matched and how much is left to be matched is going to be the size. So Ford this morning had a sell side imbalance of 1.1 million, of which on top of that, 586,000 was already matched. So they still had to sell 1.5 on top of their 586 that had been matched. So you get a sell side imbalance. We'll see. We'll do that in real time again at 350. I do this every time, just because every time we have brand new viewers, right? Not everyone understands. We talk about these imbalances because we do this on the regular. This is our thing, right? This is, if you don't know and you just started, you're like, what is this? But this is what essentially what it is. And the reason you care is because it puts pressure on the stock. If the imbalance is relatively large to the day's volume and how much it does on the average day, Ford 1 million shares isn't going to do anything. Ford 30 million share imbalance? Yeah, I think it'll do something, because Ford, how much has Ford done on the day? It's done 25 million shares. So if you get a large enough percentage of the day's volume coming out through the imbalance itself, you're going to have pressure, because the only way you can actually do these imbalances is through programs, and programs are going to put some pressure on the name if the imbalances are coming out a certain way. And if everyone knows what direction the volume needs to go, you think people aren't going to front run that? If they have the information, of course they are. So you can go in front of that, you try to oppose the order, you try to chop up the imbalance yourself. So if it's a sell side imbalance, I'm going to go short and then set an on-close buy. So that's going to reduce the imbalance by the end of the day, right? So a lot of people do that at the same time. And that's what you're going to see as we get closer and closer to the end of the day. Only matters, though, only ever matters if the imbalance is relatively large for the, yeah, it didn't do 87 million. Why did it say 25 million? It's done 87 million, Ford has. It only matters if the volume is relatively large to the day's volume. Otherwise, who cares? It's not going to do anything. 1 million shares on 87 million shares that Ford has done is not going to do anything for this stock.
All right, good little wrap up there of the imbalance locator. We talk about it all the time, so good to get your opinion and just that knowledge there. Thank you, Arun, for that one. There was some talk on the chat there. I said DC. It's DC versus Marvel was the talk, and they know that you always wear the shirt. We can put in Neil because I know Neil has an opinion here as well. So look, for me, I like Iron Man. Like if you're gonna go Iron Man, Batman, like kind of similar there. Iron Man suit is kick ass and has tons of like I don't know. I said DC. I like Batman. I just kind of grew up watching that. I like the Michael Keaton, that first Batman there. That's where I'm going. But I've definitely have not, I imagine, read as much as you or Neil as far as the comics go. So is there an opinion for you on that one?
Crazy thing, I actually don't really read the comics. It's just the characters. I'm just a fan of the individual, characters, and I don't discriminate. I'll go both ways. I'll go with Marvel and I'll go with DC. But when it comes to movies, there's a very, very big distinct or big difference between the two of them. DC focuses on I feel DC focuses on a lot of the story part of it, and Marvel just loves the flash aspect of it, the high action, it's just engagement, right? Because people love the explosions and all that fancy stuff. But DC then spends so much time with their stories that they can sometimes lose their viewers when it comes to movies and whatnot. So although I like DC's plot lines, they just take too long with them at times. So Marvel, if you want fast action comedy.
So what about for the superheroes themselves? Like what faction is better?
Give me a faction. Are we putting Justice League versus Avengers type of thing? We'll go to Neil and then I'll call. Let me think about that. Let me go
about that answer.
What's that?
How are you even thinking about that answer?
Because depends on what you want.
Look, if you're talking about the heroes, DC has the absolute perfect archetypes. You're talking about Superman. You're talking about Batman, who's like the greatest hero of all time. I'll give you the argument. Marvel makes better movies. There is no question about that. Marvel movies all day, every day. DC also has the single greatest graphic novel ever created. That's The Watchmen. So they're winning all day. And don't get me wrong, like I own Marvel comics that sit in the basement still, but you're talking Superman and Batman, you're not really going to be able to beat that combo. And their movies may stink. It's kind of like I was about to make a talk about like their movies are as bad as the Daily Chart on Oppenheimer. That's a pretty ugly one there. We'll show it in a second. But come on, Arun, Batman.
Of all the heroes you choose,
Superman.
I was going to say, of all the heroes,
everybody
of all the heroes that you're going to choose, you're choosing Batman, the guy that goes, "I'm Batman." Really?
Yeah, that's right.
Come
on,
man.
What's wrong with Batman, bro?
No. If we're going to go with DC superheroes, I'm going to go with Superman.
Where's
Batman.
First of all, where's that slipper? Because we should be throwing the slipper at you right now. Okay?
Listen,
I can say that because I'm now far enough away from Arun that he can't do anything to me, right?
If we're talking about guys that don't have superpowers and are just building suits, it's got to be Iron Man versus Batman. Come on, man. You can't go with Batman. Him in his cave and his little belt. No. We're gonna go with Superman, and we're gonna go with Iron Man. So as you can see, I don't choose either faction. I'm gonna split down the middle. I like individual characters. This goes back to like I just go for individual things. I like what I like, man. I don't have to be in one camp. Why can't I be in both, Neil?
No, you can. You can definitely pull from both sides if you want to. That's up to you, man. I just think it's pretty easy.
All right. Well, hey, I'm glad I brought this up. Good talk there, guys. And like I said here, man, maybe I'm the people's shit disturber, but I'm happy with that. That was good. A lot of passion there. I like it. That's what we're talking about. Thanks for that comic book minute. Brought to you again by Day Trade the World. So thank you, guys. That was a lot of fun. Flash is the strongest hero. Okay. I see what everyone's going with here, and we're not going to address that anymore because that was fun, and we do have a market to trade. So there we go. That was good, man. That could be an evergreen there, and then people just put their comments there at the bottom, who they like, who they do not like. AMD right now, 105 right now, back up to the upside. I feel like Arun's going to come with some heat tomorrow about superheroes coming through. But okay, here goes AMD upside now through 105, taking out some of these levels right now. Yeah, good strong name today, man. And it's actually funny because we were long here all morning, man, and we actually got out of the way. AMD is a fine stock for us today, but long took out some nice wins. It did crack lower. These are all actually pretty successful trades. Where we really lost on AMD today was when we decided to switch up on the short. It just got hammered on the way down. And this is a short here. These are outs on the short. But then right in here, we went short again off 102.50, short again here off 102.75, and then finally out, I guess, on the 102.75 break right there. So 102, 102.50, and out. So it's really the last trade for me on AMD was a problem. But, you know, again, 99 problems. AMD ain't one today. The only thing that we've really messed with that's been a problem for me was Facebook. But right now, AMD taking that down. And I'm actually going to go over to, we talked about possibly shorting Ford into that level, but now the S&P is bouncing, so I think we can get away from Ford. One name, I was going to go over to Facebook. Let me check Palantir. I did see somebody asking about Palantir. Sure, Miss V, if you have a second, did you already put that poll up, Marvel versus DC?
Throw it to me.
Oh, okay. You want to talk to Ms. V? Sure, we can do that.
So guys, first priorities, and we're gonna lift the poll about do you think markets will close positive or negative. Anyways, majority of people voted for positive, and the new poll will be, are you team DC or Marvel, coming up, so please stay on the chat.
Right, all right, good. There it is. So there's the call. Yeah, because right now the market, I mean, there's still a chance it turns negative, but that nice little bump up there, 0.7. I feel like that's pretty legit right there. So let's switch that poll up. Thank you again. I don't know if you can participate in the poll. I cannot for some reason. So I've been banned. The ban hammer has hit me on the polls, and I have no idea why. But there's Palantir. And again, they all look the same today, whether or not you're looking at SoFi, any basically ARC name today, DraftKings, a SoFi, a UiPath, as I look on the board here to find other names like that. But they've really retraced it, Upstart, Square, Block, all that kind of stuff. Nice little moves back up to the upside here after taking down some of those lows, man. I mean, Palantir was just at $14. It touched $12.50 today. Like, these names are violent one way or the other, so you got to be ready for this pullback. And again, it's just a matter of what you think about this market. Look how choppy, and this is part of the problem. Like, and I was talking with our algo team actually today, and it's like, how do you decipher like if chop is going to happen or not? Like, how nasty is Palantir early, and how smooth is it on the way down, and then again on the way back up? So it's trying to like decipher these kind of plays there, which is why I have the 50 period in the VWAP, but that wouldn't have worked at all there for trend. If anything, the trend right here at 1285, a nice upside move here for Palantir. You know, we messed with this yesterday at the close and didn't do very well. So I don't know about this name heading into the close. It's looking like it wants to barcode here, which is pretty cool. I'm thinking short 13. It's just how far do we have to hold that if it does come back up to the upside? So that's a call right now. They're in it for not a long time, but I don't know. It didn't move yesterday much into the close. So I'm actually going to pass on Palantir and go over to maybe a more aggressive name and see what that looks like with DraftKings right now. The 20-minute, forget about it. Yeah, see here's another same kind of move here. Actually not too choppy off the open. Comes back up, hits that downside move. Now we're starting to take this out. I don't like DraftKings for many reasons here in Ontario. We just went legal on April 4th. And honestly, I have like 20 emails from different sports books, right? So I'm not in love with DraftKings. If anything, I'm a DraftKings shorter right now. Yeah, let's short this. We're now below the 50 period. We have a high right there. I think we can retrace back down, especially if the market gives up a little bit here. DraftKings maybe a short through 17.15. Let's break 17.15 to the downside and go short here on DraftKings.
Yeah, there's an interesting comment that was just put in the chat. We're going to you, Neil?
Oh, sorry there. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, okay. So before we go to you, let me just take a quick look. Somebody put in the chat, Blue Water vaccines went from 60 to $10. What? And I was looking at them, I was like, wait, what? Yeah, it trended down all day. This is BWV, and this is nuts. Why did this not show up on anything of mine? But anyways, yeah, we gapped down, opened at 32, and just trended down all the way until 10. Damn, why was no one short here on this? What happened here? Neil?
I wanted to say a couple of things. The SST, by the way, was on the move there. It actually got back to the high. So maybe, I know you got out of it there, Arun, but like still strong to sort of end the day. But I was just talking to Valeria, and Tesla, look, there's a lot of things that have come back to some pretty key levels, right? And we mentioned this with the Fed highs. Remember the Fed high yesterday, or whatever you want to call it, that 1065 level on Tesla? Well, guess what? This morning we popped up, and I know we're right at that level. That's why we want to talk about it now, because you're at that 65. But when we tried to break out in the morning, guess who had that curl and short at 1065? It ain't me. It damn sure ain't me. It was Miss V. Get the camera on, Miss V. It was Valeria who had the 1065 short. So the Fed highs, we said, lock those prices away and don't forget about them because they could come into play. All the way down to 1025, which is incidentally right around where the bottom was. So that whipsaw trading that you saw after we had the Fed minutes came into play today. So once again, Ms. V strikes. Enough of those kind of trades. Maybe she should be buying her own Tesla. I feel like that has to happen at some point.
Sure, yeah. What color, Ms. V?
Tesla? Let's go green.
Green, a green car, okay.
Green.
Interesting.
Market.
Yeah, green for the market. Yeah, you can have like a personalized license plate and everything like that. Missed opportunity right now, so we'll do a little face slap on that one because just as I was saying, we'll get out of Microsoft, and I said we would reload it if we came back down to that 50 period. Well, guess what happened? 50 period came, and no reload right there. So we missed that. Probably talking about DC there. Microsoft came right back in, and part of hosting the show is missing opportunities, of course, but right back in there. That was a good one for Microsoft as we retake that 300 level back up to the upside. So that was just a good take. Should have had that on the reload back there for softies. So that's a name to look at. You know what name is still weak, actually, that I just looked at right now? Starbucks. Starbucks, obviously, they canceled their share buyback program. New management over there. Problems in China with China being completely shut down. And then Starbucks, not weak on this move here in the last little while, but weak still down that 0.18 here off of, again, choppy in the morning right into here, all the way down to 81.50 and almost straight back up in a straight line, giving us that 83.50 spot. So again, like these are names that I really wouldn't mind shorting. It's just, I don't know if we're at levels enough for me to actually do that. I was debating looking at a 3-minute maybe in the afternoon just to see if we are at like any legit levels or anything. But right here on Starbucks, a name you may want to short, like we're almost positive on this. The NASDAQ up that 0.6. We are starting to fade out just a little bit here in the NASDAQ. We got an early mock from Prad here. He always puts it in our chat there. 300 million to the buy side, again, from Financial Juice. We are in no way associated with that. So if that number comes out different or anything like that, it's just a Twitter website, I guess a handle there that does report it. But Starbucks, maybe we get back to positive here on a break. And if my daily chart's loaded, you can see what we're talking about. We actually had some great shorts into Starbucks the last couple of days, including an 88 break to the downside. But this is interesting because maybe you do have a bottom here near 80 for Starbucks. And again, if China reopens back up again and some of the supply chain, and then they're trying to unionize as well, there's just a lot of hovering around, circling the wagon around Starbucks. So I think that does have a chance to go back upside. But even in a strong market today, Starbucks still negative, while now turning positive for the day. So maybe we do take an 83.50 break on Starbucks, putting it back into the green. But a weak name that probably gets weaker, Rivian, that touches $37 today again. So Rivian yesterday collapsed into the close. So I'm going to put a short. Did I even pay for Rivian? Let me see. Let me just throw out here 100 shares. Do I have to? Yeah, we still have to pay for it. So, all right, maybe we will take a Rivian short, and I will pay a little, but it's less than a penny. So let me log in. I'll pay for well, it was yesterday. I'll pay for the short in Rivian, and then I'm going to take a short into the close. If any name's going to fail, if the NASDAQ fails, I believe it's going to be Rivian. So I'm going to take Rivian short off this high of 40.20. I just got to pay for it.
All right, as the futures take off to brand new highs now. Well, nah, we're still about a couple ticks from brand new highs on the S&P. We were close to putting them in brand new highs. We just got to get through 45.50. We were sitting at 14 and change. We're going to wait for that to turn around as it. Oh no, I accidentally closed that. I can open that back up. It was the futures chart. Anyways, as it moves back to the upside, I'll move the imbalance locator right here. We'll have that ready to go at 350. So in the event that we get a decent imbalance, you guys can see what I'm looking at as well to the upside. In terms of stocks, I'm not taking any more for the day, right? I'm done. So what I'm going to start doing now is setting up trades that I can potentially look at tomorrow, specifically PayPal. I'm looking at 114 on PayPal. The reason being PayPal working this. We've been looking at PayPal all day between 110 and 114, and we finally got going on that 114 to the upside. This was the support area. It was at 110. We got as close as possible. 110.10 is the low here, and nice bounce. So now what I'm thinking is if we get above 114, today to close out, and then tomorrow we come back in to around 113 and change. Why not go for the long? We've got a decent support base here. Why not set up a long against that 110 and see if we can get a move to the upside? So I'm looking at that, setting that up, putting the alerts in so I can work with them tomorrow, because this late in the day, I'm not stepping into anything new. And I remember we're at a prop shop or a prop firm here, right? So for us, we got to be closed by the end of the day, right? 4 o'clock on the equity side, 4:15 on the future side when they all close out. So we have to be flat by the end of the day. So for us, there's about 20 minutes left on the equity side before we need to get out. So I'm not going to do anything else on the equity side. I might do something on the future side depending on how, again, we close as we get closer to the end of the day, 3:55-ish, going into the final few minutes or so. I'll see how this market reacts, whether there's a trade to be made. Remember, 45.30 is the top end level I'm working with. We are stalling out. We are in that sell zone that I wanted to work with here for potential shorts. So if I can get some more stalling activity and we get some negative movement into the end of the day, I might go for a quick short. I've got 15 minutes after the equity market closes. So of course I can hold on to it a little bit longer than most stocks when you close out. So here we are kind of waiting for this to get going, whether it's to the upside or to the downside. As long as the activity is there after 3:55, I might take a shot at it. But until then, nothing. All we can do is set up trades. I've still got PayPal, waiting on PayPal, like I mentioned. A couple of other alerts. I'll just put this there for you guys. Maybe you guys can see it if you guys zoom in here a little bit. These are the alerts that haven't gone off on the day. So we've got Shop, Dash actually is done. Dash I've got an alert off at 106 as well. Apple through that 170 one more time would be great. NEM, shout out to Super Chat. Yeah, there was a chat about that NEM, so now I've marked off that 78 as a level to work with. RH 314 would be a level I'd want to work with on RH. AMD 100 obviously. And then Netflix out or above 372 would be something ideal. Walmart there as well, 154 on Walmart. All levels, not trades to be made, just levels that I want to work with, whether it's to the buy side or breaking them. I do want to participate around those price points. As I say that, SST, this is a problem. This is what I was worried about, was that initially when we were shorting on the way up, I wanted to get these shorts out of the way, move through that 28, get some stops going off. No, they're just shorting everything as we pop higher and higher. This becomes problematic for the type of trade that you want to work with, because now the zone is opening up a little bit and we're running to the end of the day. No one's getting out. This could be a problem. Keep an eye on it tomorrow, but definitely something's going on SST between that 25 and 28 area. So maybe some volume building up, maybe something to work with in a couple of days. Maybe not even tomorrow, but in a couple of days.
Okay, apparently there's an S6 offering coming for BWV, unconfirmed. Okay, well, that's good for our chat. Thank you for bringing that up. We saw that crazy move today on BWV as well. That was that name you looked at, that 60 to 10 bucks.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, something coming on that. That wouldn't be a surprise at all. Okay, we're in it. We'll go Mamma Mia here. And I'm not going to start the pineapple debate again, because then we're going to be here for a bit. We'll see about Rivian here coming back in. So here we go. Let's see. First take will be at 85, which is, well, I think I put it at 83. That's where it was at the time. But anyways, low 80s here. If Rivian does come back down, we're only short right now. We're short at 05. It did go a dime in the money for us, but we're going to hold out for a little bit more on Rivian. We only have 4 minutes now until the imbalances come through. So we'll see if that comes out again. Again, we have a 400 million or so buy side from Trader Prad and again, Financial Juice website. So we always talk about that every day. But here, we're going to get out at 40.20. And obviously, we want more shares of this. So as it goes up, we'll average into Rivian. And again, not that what happened yesterday means it's going to happen today or anything like that, but this is what happened yesterday into the close for Rivian. I don't know where all this volume came from. Like, did I miss some news or something? But Rivian yesterday just absolutely collapsed, and we were going to go short off these shelves as well. So yesterday's top was 41.20, that shelf right there, and now today it kind of looks the same thing, doesn't it, guys? So we'll take this short here. Here it goes. We're going to get the next piece here at 07, and then we'll get a good average price, and then I'm going to wait here at 15, and if we take out 25, then we're gone. But there it is. So for me, let's see, we paid for the short, not very expensive, but we need to make money or it's going to cost us again. So let's wait to see what happens here. If Rivian gets super excited, as the market right now, starting to, like you said, close to ticking highs again. So this won't work if it doesn't the market doesn't fade. So right now we're going to watch out. There it is. So now we're loaded up. That's it, man. Now we'll see what happens. That's the last position we want here for Rivian. We are now short 40.10 on RIVN. Let's call it up on another screen so we can watch it in case we change it. But right now, Rivian, we have our outs, 40.25. Let's see if that holds. That's 15 cents worth of risk here for Rivian. Let's see if we can get out near 40, at least some of it, and then hold the rest for that 50-period move back down to 39.80 right here. Arun.
Yeah, somebody in the chat was saying that the amounts were like 400 million. I would love to know where you're getting that info from.
Well, we had it from Financial Juice.
Well, I mean, yeah, but that was Pratt saying it was a different number than what was posted. I was curious where other people are getting their info from, because I would love to know. Yeah, just put it in the chat. I would love to know where you guys are getting that number or that figure from, because the more you get, the more, of an idea you
share it.
Kind of get that info, and the direction would be right.
Just like Rivian's bringing the pain right now.
All right, we've got about 2 minutes left. I mean, if you got something to talk about, until the imbalances come out, I've got nothing going on.
Okay, so, all right, so you're fine there with the imbalances and everything? Okay, we will just continue to talk because, there goes Rivian, man. We took down some 40s there. Like I said, our last load up was 40.15, came back in. We just got 40s. We actually got some 98s. Yeah, we got some 98s as well, I believe. So, not I believe, we did. So let's see if Rivian now wants to fall down. Remember, we'll have to adjust our stop order. We're out of 20%. It's nothing, but let's see if it continues to fall down here. We do have those numbers coming in. Honestly, tweet, I know Arun doesn't have Twitter, but tweet at me or Neil, at TraderTV Sean or Neil, because, we're interested. If there's another source that anybody has, where they get their mocks from or anything like that, let us know, because I'd love to sit here and analyze like a better number for you rather than one that's a little stale. So definitely hit us up. But just so you know, we are both going to be looking at this. I'm going to adjust it so we don't look at ARCA. I've tried, again, I know you deal with the software and you do like some education pieces. You can't get rid of that ARCA. Like, I saved my layout. No, but I mean, every day it just replaces itself.
Oh, because the filter,
because the filter is not a saved thing. So I feel like we need more work on that side. But here we go. With only 40 seconds left, you're going to see some of these imbalances come out. I'm only in Rivian and Rite Aid, but Rite Aid's nothing. I was just holding that to see if it went back to $8. But here we go. If Rivian comes down as a sell, we do have bids lower, but I don't have enough shares. So let me put a couple more bids lower here into the buy side for Rivian. Hopefully it comes as a sell side, and then we don't get ticked out of this trade. But now with only 20 seconds to go, I have the market up here, and then we have, maybe I'll move it over a little bit so I can move this over a little bit so we don't lose it no matter what. We're going to watch Rivian and anything else that comes out here. Remember, these are 9:30. In about 9 seconds, they're going to update for 350, and then you'll definitely see some movement here, definitely in Rivian and whatever else happens. So here we go, 1 and 0. There goes Rivian right down to the downside. Bang, 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 bang. There it is, gold to the downside. Apple with a bid right now, so that probably goes upside. Yeah, cash me on Rivian, man. Cash me outside, if anybody knows where that's from. Right now, as Rivian, nice little move. Apple was a bid there, but not really doing anything right now. So there it goes. Down goes the market right now on that imbalance. I guess there's more sells than buys here as gold, everything gold to sell right now today. That's going to be Barrick, I believe. They did a change of symbol. Downside, Twitter's a buy. I don't really see anything else, but right now, Arun, the futures, they be screaming and the wrong way, downside right here. So let's see what happens. Rivian is 25 cents in. We have paid hand over fist now for those shorts. So that's been a good move as the futures crack a little bit lower. Clean up all your stop orders right now if you do have any left. Only now 9 minutes left. What a good trade that turns out to be for Rivian. Let's see if we do crack even lower. We are now out of 60% of this trade, holding a little bit more here for Rivian. Out. We just hit. There it is again. A nice little take there at 82 for us on Rivian. Let's see. Here we go, Rivian. Come on, baby. Bring it down home. Bring this one home for us. Rivian, what a way to close the day here. Let's go.
I'm just looking at these imbalances. Obviously, with gold being the big one, 3.4 million shares sell side, so that's Barrick. I'm so used to Barrick being ABX.
That's what I'm saying.
And then I find out.
Make sure that's true. Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
Right, and now Barrick is gold, which kind of is confusing sometimes because.
It doesn't.
Anyways, GLD is also the gold ETF, so they got really close to that. Anyways, of all these imbalances, 3.5. I mean, okay, pay attention to that. Nielsen doesn't do anything. Verizon's too small. Whatever. And then you skip down the list and you look at PM. You're like, wait, what? Why is PM already paired 1.7 million shares? It's got 500 left on the board, and they've already paired 1.7. That's huge.
Yeah.
For the only other ones that have paired already north of a million shares are AT&T, makes sense, and then BAC, makes sense. Big names that run big imbalances, but PM doesn't. And this is going to be very interesting to see whether PM actually gets moving at 355 or not, because it's only done 2.691 or just shade of 2.7 million shares, and they've already paired 1.7 of their 2.2. That's supposed to be done by the end of the day. Yeah, that's something to keep an eye on. Is right now PM is a buy side, and you see the buy side pressure from that 99. 80-ish area. Now we've gotten as high as I think it was around 90 something, and now we're kind of stalling out here in the 90s. At 355, you're going to get that update, and if that gets any bigger, where is it? Right here. It's somewhere here. I'll isolate this actually. If that imbalance gets bigger and the pair PM right here, it's right there. 519,000 shares with 1.73 paired. If that 519 gets bigger after 55 and that pair value holds well, I think you're going to have a nice little run on PM. But again, it all depends on how 355 comes around.
All right, right now, so we've been getting out. It's a nice little spike up for Rivian here. We're sitting on the bid. I don't think we're going to get touched out of this thing at 40.50, but sorry, 40.25. I had already canceled my offer there, or my bid, sorry, on that one. So let's just put another bid here, see if we can get something out on the downside now. It just kind of ripped up right there, Rivian. So, okay, it just crushed it back down in. We are all over this bid, 90s, 80s, and then again in the 70s, one more flush down. We now only have 15% of this trade, so a good one to end the day. And actually, funny thing that, you know, like it was so cheap to pay for shorts there that it was 1 cent literally. So, you know, the fact that we just went down in more than 1 cent already paid for that one for Rivian. So good thing that was a market on close buy. And that's the thing, like, although we went back to the well with Rivian because of what it did yesterday, you still get lucky there, right? Like if that comes out a buy imbalance, which I don't know, did we even get the net number there? I don't even know what it came out as in a total, but you know, the market did shoot down there. So that's gonna give you a little bit of pressure on the sell side, which forces Rivian's hand a little bit there on the down. I don't know where Rivian was per se in that imbalance, but it didn't really matter. It gave us all of these outs, man, and we took them. So that was a good trade for us on Rivian. What's up, Neil?
Yeah, just a late move here. That Sunshine Biopharma just went again, breaking out in the last couple of minutes here. So it looks like it's going to be on the run to that $10 mark. Probably one to file away for tomorrow because it's been on a rampage the last 3 sessions. No, there's no catalyst. I didn't see any news come across the wire, at least not yet, to cause this latest spike here. But yeah, close to that $10 mark. SBFM up 50% on the session. There's nothing in the way of earnings this week, or at least for tomorrow. But yeah, certainly plenty is on the move today. What an impressive move the market's put in.
Yeah, market's coming back in. Hey, this is very, very helpful for me for tomorrow. And the reason I say that is because we're still in that zone. This yellow zone is where I want to fade, or this orange zone is where I want to fade this market and look for a short. So a sell side move into the end of the day opens that idea up. 355, what do you get? 2 million pair, 267 left on PM. So they still want to do about 2.2 on the print, looks like, on a stock that's done 2.8 at the end of the day. So keep an eye on PM. If CEF gets any more activity towards the as we get right to the end of the day, around that 3:59 into 4 o'clock, because that could be very interesting to watch, right? Now we're looking at 2.3 million shares to print, and going back to the futures, this is a zone I want to fade this so badly. I just need to set up for it, and the way it's moving right now, I'm not going to be able to do much with it, but we can definitely set something up for tomorrow.
So what if we came in tomorrow and was below that?
Below what? Below
the
the
yellow
zone?
line, that 4,500.
Well, okay, so if we can get the setup, which is somewhere in this area here, then I'd offer right on the edge and see if I can actually fade this, or
Okay,
get it off
so
short.
you'd be looking for a short if we broke below.
Well, no, this
Or
is
open tomorrow.
yeah. If we were below it, I'd be looking for a short, depending on how we broke below it.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So for now, the way it's moving, of course, remember this closes at 4:15. Just because the market closes in 3 minutes or so doesn't mean that futures market's going to close immediately. We have 15 minutes afterwards to get this going, and this could easily go back right towards 45.20 and close up strong, right? So you do have to be aware that there's a 15-minute difference between the futures market and the stock market closing, which could lead to some very large moves in one or the other, especially you notice this when earnings season comes out, okay? A lot of these names, big tech names, report at like 4 o'clock, 4:05. Stock equity side is closed, it gets very thin, and then futures market takes off because the weights are high, like Apple and Microsoft, because they have big weights in these indexes, right?
Thank you so much, Garrett, for the $2. Another great close for Trader TV. You're right about that one. And look, it's just about trying to educate you guys. I think we do a great job of that here, talking about the imbalances, talking about why we're into positions, what we're thinking about, superheroes, things like that. So thank you again for all the love here. And we try as a team, not we try, we do have a good time. And hopefully that's, you know, resonating with you guys. And thank you for coming back. And thank you again, Garrett. Really nice, that $2. Thank you so much for that. We'll put that to good use. But yeah, good coverage today. Thanks. Yeah, good. Neil filled in great, obviously, for Brendan. So tomorrow we have the same team on board. So if you liked it today, we're back tomorrow for some more exciting trades.
Not just for tomorrow. I believe
Oh,
Brendan's
yeah, that's
off
right.
all of next week as well. So Frank, you were asking whether I'm on tomorrow. I'm on tomorrow. I'm on next week. Pretty much all of next week. Remember, we got a holiday on Friday. So I'll be here until next, finish up the week next week.
5 more days.
Yeah, 5 more days. I'm just counting them now.
Yep. All right. Yeah, exactly. And that's great. We're lucky to have Arun, and it's great to have somebody to fill in for us as we're looking to expand the show as well. So that's a little update there. But okay, Rivian right now. I was going to give it to this 40.15 here. If it broke, it broke. But it looks like right now I'm in the bid here. I'm actually down here in the 70s just to see if we did get that one crazy flush down in. But Rivian, actually a nice positive name and still making that move to the downside with only a minute and a bit left here. Should be good, man. Yeah, baseball starting up again. Lots of action there. That should be good. The Raptors still kicking butt. And the Masters. Let's do a quick little Masters update here. We'll refresh. I don't know if this automatically refreshes or not. Oh, shit. Cameron Smith right now handing down the dimes. -6 right now. C. Smith in the building. I actually have him at 16 or 17 to 1 on my online gambling account. And I have Tiger Woods, believe it or not, was even money to make or miss the cut, and I had make the cut. Tiger Woods is on the leaderboard right now at -1. Shout out to Corey Connors as well at -1 there. There's my boy DJ, a little bit of Canadian content there with Paulina Gretzky. I also have Rory as a long shot to try to win this thing as well. So yeah, there's yet last year's winner, Hideki Matsuyama, on the board as well. But yeah, Cam Smith, you ain't gonna catch Cam Smith
Sean,
now.
we got about 15 seconds left as we get near the close. I see Tony, I see Valeria standing near the board. We got the countdown?
Shoot. Yep, countdown's off right now.
Okay, it's going to be off because, you know,
second late.
We're worried about the Masters.
Yes,
the countdown's
we are.
coming in about 3, 2, 1. There you go.
Oh shit, still have Rivian.
Officially closed.
And I still have Rivian, so I got to get out of
And what is the futures going to do? It's going to keep going down after the market closed. Okay, that'll be interesting.
Okay, we're out. We're out of Rivian. Then we got out at 96. We had to punch out right at the end of the day. I actually forgot that we still had that, but that's a good out for me. 96 on Rivian right there. You did see Tony the Pepperoni Man. And Valeria's green worked charms today. As it looks like, Neil, we may have finished in the green.
Oh, we finished in the green, all right. So there you go. Maybe that'll be good luck. Miss V's in the green. It's always fun to see Miss V and Tony do their thing, and I love the Canadian content. Good luck for Caleb the rest of the way, your boy. I hope you win that coinage, and then pay for some coffees, Sean, which you already do anyways. But across the board, upside. Now, with the exception of Bitcoin and Ethereum slightly down, hey, the ES, the NASDAQ, and the Dow all up. NASDAQ trailing a little bit. Hey, green is green. Crude oil even made a bit of a comeback there. Sort of late, they pulled back. It was up, I think, 4% earlier on this morning and, only down, only flat on the session. But overall, a pretty impressive rally. The context of it, of course, was bouncing again late in the day. So you had that weak bottom, or you had that Fed bottom yesterday. We didn't close on the lows despite being down 2%. And today we closed with a little bit of a bounce off the bottom. Right after Europe closed at 11:30, the market got strong.
Yeah, wow, what a crazy day, a crazy market there. Nice to end green. I mean, after a few crazy days there. I don't know if we did one likes call at all this afternoon. So let's do one right now. If we can get this to 1,000, we do have 2,500 watching. Please, guys, hit that like button right now. Turn that over to 1,000 right now. show my screen, Fod. There we go. Right there. Hit that. Turn that guy blue, red, whatever it is, black on our system right there. If you can, if you enjoyed the show. But again, another good one. We'll be looking out tomorrow. I guess there's no earnings. We didn't go over any. Earnings season starts. I guess it should be starting now, but the banks, I believe JP Morgan is the 13th, which is next week. So we should be in on that a date. So next Wednesday for JP Morgan. And then normally we get, Alcoa normally starts things off. So we'll see.
It used to.
Yeah, it doesn't anymore.
It doesn't, no. That used to be the official start of earnings season, but now it doesn't. There's something else. They changed it.
I wonder why they changed that there. But yeah, guys, thank you for the like button. We're almost at 1,000 right now. Hit it if you can. If you can't, that's fine. But we're back tomorrow. I want to thank Fahad. I want to thank Lucas today, obviously. Trader Prad's over there at his desk. Good coverage there on the midday show for us. That was good. And thanks to Neil again today for filling in for Brendan and to our team, Mark, Maggie, Liz, everybody. Look, we're
I got one for you here. By the way, you are correct. JP Morgan is the 13th. Just checked.
Yeah, I'm not often wrong. I mean, that's the thing, right? Often wrong, and the other way around. But yeah, JP Morgan the 13th. That should be exciting. We're excited for that. Go home, pop some beer, whatever you're going to drink. Have a look at the Masters. Cheer on Canadian content or whoever you're looking for there. As, yeah, Hydration Nation is in the building, and we're here for 5 more days. So we'll catch you tomorrow at 8:30. Ciao, guys.